Uh, uh, hello. 1, 2, 3. Have I only just noticed the orange on Mori's head? Hey, yo! It's been there the whole time! Hello, P. Hello, Daisy. Alright. Where's the theme screen? Okay. Yippee! We're back at it again. Hopefully, I can actually play the game now and not have to struggle tweet. Hello, everyone. How is the week? It's the midweek today. Wednesday. I said I'd do a Wednesday stream, and here we are. Now, I have completely forgotten where we left off. Load. Where did we leave off? What? Huh? Huh? Wait, no! What is this? Back? Back? Huh? Load. This one. Right? Yeah. We're going to be going out for drinks with Baxter. Wednesday. What's up? Hello, Neil. I'm going to Sydney on the 1st of December. Hey, yo! Have fun! Eee. Midweek dead. I feel you. For real, for real. Alright. Now, click. Yes? Okay. Oh? It was late enough in the day that you were surprised to hear a knock on the door. Seeing who was waiting on the other side only doubled the surprise. Good evening, Mori. I've returned from my journey. Why? How? Why do you say it like that? I've returned from my arduous journey to upstate California. Baxter's smile warmed like it was still the middle of the afternoon. The confusion must have been written all across your face. He laughed as if he could read your thoughts. It was almost a week ago that you'd found Baxter in the exact same spot. He spun a tale about how he put in place some plans to visit old acquaintances in Northern California, after his parents had told him they were sending him the Sunset Bird. Baxter assumed being in the same state meant he was reasonably close for a visit, but he learned the hard way how daunting it would be to drive himself to the opposite end of California. Ah yes, the journey to upstate California is rather daunting indeed. I have never been to the United States. I could only imagine. Before he left, Baxter ended that conversation with a promise. On his return, he would tell you of the arrival in person. And there he was, true to his word.
Nice to see you.
It's lovely to see you again. I feel I've been away for an age. Okay. But that arrangement had seemed like a stroke of brilliance, adding more adventure to my stay in the state, and assuring myself I'd see friendly faces at least once in the season. Apple, I don't care if my data from health and maps isn't syncing. Oh, you're having that too? Well, something happening with the Apple products. This is why I picked Android. Yet, truthfully, I wouldn't have promised such a lengthy trip away from town if I had known who my neighbor was going to be. Aw, shucks. As pleasant as they were, it simply doesn't compare to what I have here. Whoa. I hope you still had fun. Wow, I'm so flattered. You know, I don't mind if you have other things you'd rather do sometimes. You blushed and looked away. You smiled. I hope you still had fun on your trip, though. Old acquaintances? Hooking his thumbs in his pockets, Baxter shifted his weight to one side. The end of his lips curved.
Thank you.
I did, thank you. I'm fairly talented at making my own fun where it seems to be lacking naturally. Yep, I know. Before anything else, you let Baxter actually come in. He cordially joined you in the family living room. With the greetings and pleasantries all done and an invitation to talk extended, he got right to the point, as you would have expected from him.
I hope I'm not being too forward.
Now, I hope I'm not being too forward, but I would like to spend more time with you. Damn. Really straightforward. Cut to the chase. In fact, I was wondering if I might take you out on a date. I spoke so boldly about the desire before, and it's long overdue. If that's what you also want, of course. Ooh, chat. Do we accept his invitation? Yeah, I've been waiting for this. I was hoping that could happen too. I'd rather hang out with you normally. You nod. You frowned. Does it have to be called a date? My volume's high, so the voices keep jump scaring me. The voices! The voices! Yeah, we accept it. Okay. Sure, let's nod in full agreement. Do you hear the voices, P? Your heart leapt for joy, and that excitement was reflected on your smile. I'm thrilled to see that. And obviously, this tentative date would be based on your own schedule. It'd be ghastly if I expected you to drop everything simply because I've only now made myself available. But whenever works best for you, I will accommodate accordingly. Oh, the planner persona really is hooking in. It is late today, so I don't expect that, but I'm entirely free tomorrow. We must have angered the forces of fate because our schedules keep clashing. You give a deep huff of discontent. Baxter's smile faltered. Tomorrow I'm spending the afternoon visiting family. I don't think I'll be home until pretty late. But we could do something in the morning, as long as you don't mind it being kind of short. You placed the suggestion hopefully. It seemed like it'd be a good compromise, but it was hard to tell what Baxter thought. He stood there, silently. Hold on, let me get my water bottle. It's on the other side of the room. Okay, I'm back. Saya! Baxter is rocking the Monokuma all-seeing eye fit. I trust him completely. Hello, Ellie! Welcome! Gotta stay hydrated. Yeah! Alright, I've successfully rehydrated. He stood there silently. The look on his face changed. It was strange. There was a problem, certainly, but if he was free and so were you, what could be that much of a roadblock? We can hang out some other day if that's not what you had in mind. His expression shifted again, and not for the better. Whatever caught him off guard in the first place was nothing in comparison. Baxter was getting even more perturbed. And just as quickly, Baxter snapped out of it. He released a steady breath and regained much of his usual relaxed composure in his next inhale.
I apologize.
Forgive me for being distracted. Your idea is perfectly manageable. More than that, in fact. I'd prefer if we didn't put things off to another day. How about we go to a cafe and get coffee, or tea, or whatever drink you prefer? I've seen some very nice ones that when I've been out exploring the area, but I haven't patronized any of them yet. Deal. That'd be great. Excellent. Tomorrow morning it is then. It was always going to be a busy day, but at least now, tomorrow had an added dash of excitement. The anticipation was mutual, and Baxter's tone sweetened. You got all the details squared away, Baxter volunteered to play driver for the short trip, and you planned to drop by his house in the morning, once you'd gotten ready. When that was settled, there was nothing left to do other than to say your goodbyes for the night. Baxter politely dipped his head. Mori, remember when we had secret yap session on Roblox off-stream? Well, you barged into the game that I was playing. Do not talk about my Robux e-begging. You caught me e-begging. No. Hello, how are you? I'm doing good, Ellie. How are you? Do not expose me. I'm asking for Robux. Dang, alright. E-begging is what? That's what I call it, but it's like a donation thing. I don't know. My friend recommended me the server because it's basically you draw stuff, and if people see it and then they like it, they can donate. They can give you some Robux. So far, I've earned 10 whole Robux. Good too. I got 21 Robux left. Ayo. May I have one free Robux, please? No, I heard this fair and square, man. Oh, that game. I don't think it was Starving Artist. I've seen Starving Artist, but I've joined Draw and Donate, I think. That was what my friend recommended. You have more than me? No. I'm gonna attempt to make you in Roblox. Ayo! I look forward to seeing it, Daisy. Don't e-beg from my e-begging stash. Bye, have a good night.
Goodbye for today.
You as well. I'll see you soon, Mori. As he turned to go, you both found little ways to stretch the seconds, lingering for as long as you could. Then he was gone. Cute. The rest of the night passed pleasantly. Your thoughts wandered all along the fun paths tomorrow could unfold in. The next morning, you were up and out the door like a whirlwind. Your eyes were set on your goal as you went uphill and across the street to Baxter's condo. Knocking on the door, you tried to guess the cafe Baxter had in mind. He'd mentioned before there were a few that caught his eye, but you weren't sure what that meant exactly. Your growing curiosity wouldn't have to wait much longer. Or maybe it would. As you stood in front of Baxter's shut condo, you gradually realized it was taking quite a while for him to answer the door. Much more than normal. Blinking, your head swiveled as you double-checked for your own sanity that you had the right house. You did, but Baxter was still nowhere to be seen. You rang the doorbell next. Another couple of minutes passed and finally you began to hear the faint clattering inside the house. The door pulled open a crack. It was barely enough to see Baxter on the other side, wearing a half-litted daze and not his usual outfit. That was for sure. Hey there, Baxter. Are you okay? He yawned loudly and then sluggishly followed your line of sight to look down at him. He frowned the second it clicked that he wasn't dressed for the event. You guessed those were his pajamas.
Forgive me.
I deeply apologize, Mori. I will need an additional moment before we can leave. I'm running late, it seems. And he shut the door. Huh? No, I've been locked out. I got bonked! Ellie! Did the bonk work? I don't know. Did the bonk work? I didn't see it. I didn't even hear it. Ow. Okay. Why do I do this to myself? I should always check before I start stream, but maybe, I don't know. Also, more a few Roblox games I would recommend: Creatures of Sonaria, Curse Randomizer, Regretivator, and Wings of Fire Beta. Oh. I know about Regretivator. I wanna play it, but I need to convince my friends to play it with me. But I'll keep that in mind, P. Thank you. Actually, let me take a screenshot so I don't forget. There, and then I save it somewhere. It's saved somewhere. Yeah, I think so. Question mark? Yeah, it's saved. Baxter got that zesty smirk. What have you been saying, Daisy? Thank you for the head pats, Snail. We almost saw him in an actually decent outfit. We'll see him again soon. Write those games down. I literally have nothing to play on Roblox. Send the screenshot in Discord for me. Okay. Hold on, let me... Or Discord, more record. Media. I'll send it in media. There. Creatures of Sonaria is really good. It's a kaiju survival game. It's really fun. Ooh, kaiju! Okay, my interest is piqued. I will check that out. You were left there on his doorstep, entirely at a loss. His bizarre behavior was unexplainable, at least for the second it took for your brain to completely process what had happened. It dawned on you that this was the first time you'd actually seen Baxter before noon, and how that might not be a random coincidence. He wasn't a morning person. Suddenly, the door flung... What? I cannot read. Suddenly, the door flung all the way open, nearly knocking you backwards. Baxter was back, and this time we got a full view. Baxter was indeed wearing only his pajamas. Black and white PJs, of course. Excuse me, that was rather impolite. You couldn't tell by his tone of voice which incident he was even referring to. Shutting the door on your face, or the way the situation was dragging on forever. It was hard to know. But Baxter moved aside enough so you could pass by. Why don't you come in? You went inside past the entryway and into the living room. At that point, you were more concerned about Baxter safely navigating his own home than you were about even making it to the cafe. Ooh, we get to see the condo, inside the condo for the, what was it? The mean grandparents. They used to rent this condo. We finally get to see inside. Yippee! My eyes will water if I ever see Mori play Dress to Impress. Ooh. Ooh. Whenever I play Roblox, I like to play with friends because that makes it a lot more fun. But also, it's a hard time getting friends that play Dress to Impress specifically. Why are your pajamas a better fit than your normal outfit? Yeah. I think he's trying too hard with his normal outfit. Oh, well, to be honest, I also have like a half black, half white shirt of my own. Well, not because of Baxter though, it's because of Unos Anus. I got that shirt because of Unos Anus. Do not get that mixed. I would be a proud mother if you saw me play Dress to Impress. Dang, P. Mori, is your shirt covered in eyeballs? No, it's not covered in eyeballs. It just has stripes on one side. They were fire. Yeah, Unos Anus. I was there when the channel ended. Yeah. Mori bro got to watch the live stream. I was only able to watch a few clips of it. I miss Unos Anus. Have you seen the latest anniversary video for it? Spooky. Quality just dropped? Hey yo, let me check. Stream health. Stream is healthy. Okay. Well, it's not on my end. I keep going back to some of the clips that people upload. Maybe they're doing something with it next year? Question mark. No, I haven't been chronically online lately. You should check it out. I'm just gonna ignore that. You say chronically online. I'm just gonna ignore that. Back, that's better. Welcome back, P. You paused to take in the space, unable to help yourself. After all those years trying to avoid this condo, you were actually inside. Honestly, you never thought that would happen. But as much as you wanted to explore, there were even more unexpected things taking precedence. Your attention returned to Baxter. Hold on. Preview? He closed the door and followed behind. Baxter pinched the bridge of his nose between his thumb and forefinger as his feet dragged. Please do take a seat. I'm so sorry for not being prepared. I set an alarm an hour ago, and I know I heard it go off. Somehow. That was a long sigh. Let's hear that again. Man. Somehow, in a matter of moments, that hour disappeared and now you're here. And I have little doubt about your punctuality. Why is there a tin can tree in the background? I don't question it. It's for decoration. It's profound and artful. You want to avoid the truth, Mori? Don't call me out like that, okay? I might have a job in 2025. Ayo. Whenever I set an alarm, I just fall asleep and set it. Yeah, me too. The alarm goes off, and then I turn it off, and then I go back to sleep. And then the second alarm turns on. Then I have to turn that off, and then I go back to sleep, and then I end up not waking up. I set 5 alarms like a goblin. Oh man, I think I need to set like 10 for me. Hello, A4! He moved the hand up to rub his forehead with his palm as if to catch the memories lost inside. You didn't rush him, instead settling yourself in a chair. I don't know how this could have happened. Baxter's words became too mumbled and faint to understand. That brought your gaze back to him directly. And you got an eyeful of his exposed stomach. Baxter was in the process of taking his shirt off over his head, but in his groggy state, the material had caught on his ears. Maybe don't do that here. Huh? I don't think I heard you. He slipped his face through the neck of the shirt. You both stared at each other silently. I don't understand what... His gaze flickered down to his wrinkled clothes and then back up to you. Barely preserved blank expression. Oh no, that is not correct. I'm sorry. I'm used to living with dorm mates. They don't care about that sort of behavior. I lost my manners. I'll go change properly in my room. Please, stay here. I'll be back in 2 shakes. And with that, the situation was out of your hands. You watched him fumble his way through the room. Baxter made it upstairs and the slam of the door sent the house rattling. The following dead silence only lasted a split second. Sorry! His voice rang out from what you assumed was his bedroom. His next words were even clearer. He must have opened the door again to speak. I didn't mean to do that at all. That's okay. I think I pulled the door too hard. No problem, that happens. I swear the noise was completely unintentional. If you insist. He didn't add anything else after that. He remained where he left you in a rapidly growing state of disbelief. I'm getting ready to screenshot Boo Mori. Why? What do you mean? There is no sprite for it. No. I've gone through this route 7 times before. It doesn't happen. You won't see it. To put it nicely, Baxter was a total mess. And somehow the universe deemed you worthy of having a front row seat. Oh, lucky. It was kind of fun to know he was not always so poised. The whole thing was hilarious. You felt bad about bothering him at a clearly bad time. It was extremely cute. You were annoyed he couldn't get his act together. How are we reacting, guys? I'm on the what's it called? I think it's funny side. But like, what do you guys think? Chat? There should have been. Well, you're just down bad, Neil. Now you're just down bad. Hello, welcome back, P. I think it was fun. Yeah. It was kind of fun to know he was not always so poised. Cracking a smile, you wondered what other sides Baxter was keeping buried under the surface. A part of you had a good feeling that the disastrous morning zombie version of Baxter was going to stay in the forefront. After a few minutes, the clumsy bumping around the stairs upstairs faded. A part of you considered the chances of whether or not he had fallen asleep somewhere, but the sound of careful footsteps soon banished that thought. Baxter returned downstairs and properly dressed as well. He drifted his fingers along the buttons of his shirt, double-checking that everything was in order.
Hello.
Here I am. Good morning. You were pleasantly surprised to see him already. Hopefully, he was actually doing as well as he was trying to. Baxter, may you go put your pajamas back on before we leave, actually. Yeah. Chicken fingers, what do you mean, P? Morning, sleepyhead. I can't emphasize this enough. Thank you so much for your patience. I apologize for that unnecessary bump in our plans. Baxter graciously moved beyond his earlier antics. If you hadn't witnessed it firsthand, you probably wouldn't have believed it ever happened. Though, as you observed him more, you noted the signs. He hadn't erased all evidence of a few minutes ago yet, if you knew where to look. His usually pristine and deliberately put together outfit was pulled and tucked in the wrong places. There were even wrinkles. Wrinkles. Oh no. The burping has commenced. I am intaking a lot of air while reading this out. Alright, I'ma go play Roblox here. Alright, Daisy, have fun. Baxter turned his head in an attempt to suppress a yawn, and there was a dull edge to his entire demeanor. He hadn't quite reached his usual razor-sharp wit yet. It was alright. You still quite enjoyed this soft, easygoing state of Baxter. Are you really alright? You don't have to do this. So you're not a morning person? It really wasn't any trouble. You smiled reassuringly. So you're not a morning person? Do we ask him straight up? Are we direct, blunt? Yeah. Question mark. Yes. Yes. Let's ask him. Okay. So you're not a morning person? You'd be correct. He let his gaze fall away somewhere to the side, frowning. I am the furthest thing from being a morning person these days. Good to know, Night Owl. But then his smile slipped and you could see Baxter's guilt surfacing. I should admit directly that mornings are, as you might have surmised, a challenge. It wasn't always this way. I swear, the older I get, the more the early hours become a chore. I got up at dawn for school for years, but college allowed me to actively avoid morning classes altogether. That's actually really lucky. You can I've known a lot of college students that like dread morning classes because they couldn't really move those classes. They couldn't move the morning classes to like afternoon and stuff. So dang. Oh, I can't remember the last time I had an occasion to be out before 11 at the earliest. Baxter rubbed the back of his neck. His frustration with himself was palpable. Seriously, you don't need to feel bad. Some people are built that way. Nevertheless, it's jarring to be entirely lost for a specific chunk of the day. I expected I would have a rough start, but I never thought I'd handle the occasion so poorly. I certainly would have made better choices if I knew this was the sight I'd be showing you. The intensity of his voice gradually lessened until the last part was delivered quietly. He couldn't even look at you as he muttered, "Thank you for the head pat, boy." But if you're still interested, I would be thrilled to have our charming cafe breakfast. It would be a shame to miss out on the chance. Of course I'm interested. I like that, but if I'm driving. Would it be alright if I drove your car? I'm not as tired. Baxter, could you let me drive this time? I'll be watching stream but not chatting. Alright, P. Enjoy stream. I'd like that, but if I'm driving. Baxter chuckled and scratched the side of his cheek bashfully. Out of everything that happened this morning, this was what visibly embarrassed him. Dang. You know, this guy isn't easily embarrassed, but somehow that is what breaks him. What the hell? I accept your courteous offer. Great. It was a relief that Baxter agreed so easily. Not much could ruin the event for real, but a car crash would manage that quite effectively. Baxter's feet scuffed over the ground as he followed you out of the condo. He simply shut the front door before walking into the street. Did you forget to lock the door? You couldn't believe he was about to leave the neighborhood like that. Well, with normal Baxter, you couldn't believe it. It made sense, it made perfect sense with morning Baxter. I mean, we have been really straightforward today. His defense has to be low already. A 1-2 shot. Truly. Critical hit. Baxter paused and his face scrunched up in confusion. You pointed at the condo. He followed the motion, peering over his shoulder. Ah, good catch. Thank you. You waited by the car while he hurried back. From what you could observe, Baxter didn't need any more help locking the front door this time. Though he hesitantly glanced in your direction before he moved, and you gave him a thumbs up. Baxter rejoined you on the road. He may have been living in a daze, but when Baxter was standing at the driver's side of his car, you could see his focus sharpen. He unlocked the vehicle before offering you the keys. You gladly accepted them, and he held the door open while you climbed inside. Baxter closed it and went to the opposite side. Oh, what a gentleman. I held open the door. He slid into the passenger seat and positioned himself with his elbow leaning against the door. Baxter silently watched you get acquainted with the car. Ah yes, the high-end car. I am now the one driving. Ooh. All of his brain cells are sleeping. Same. Same. Who would get up at 7 a.m.? I would. I am forced to. When you were both ready, Baxter promptly brought up the directions to the cafe. Here we are. Sighing contentedly, you leaned into your seat and soaked in the morning sun, coming in through the window. You were optimistic that the date was going to be great. The drive wasn't long at all and no issues came along. It was smooth sailing. You hopped out and the scents wafting from the cafe were enough to pull you towards the propped open front door. Oh, before I forget, hooking the key ring around your finger, you dangled Baxter's key in front of him. Oh, he's jingling keys in front of the child. Okay. Hey. Are you focusing? Listen to me. Listen to me. Hey. Are you listening? Jiggle. Are you awake? Are you awake? Hello? Jingle. We're jingling the keys at him to keep his attention. You dangled Baxter's key in front of his face. He grinned at your playful teasing and snatched them. Thanks for driving. No problem. Once you were inside, the intermingled smells became easier to decipher. Chocolate, cinnamon, bacon and eggs, and, most especially, coffee. There was something about that particular brew of coffee that immediately reminded you of your parents. The two of them loved to have long, easy mornings in the kitchen with mugs of coffee between them on the counter. They might be doing that at home that very minute. Before you could tug on the thread of thought further, a waiter passed by you carrying a sliced quiche. Ooh, Mori's pulling a Markiplier. Of course I'm pulling a Markiplier. Have you seen my viewer demographic? I haven't. It's either people are lying about their age, or there actually are like more 18-year-olds in my viewer demographic. But I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. People lie about their age on the internet all the time. I'm like 3,000 years old. I doubt it. Man. Hold on, let me adjust my mic. Okay. Hello. Thank you. We know that you're 3,000. Waiter, I would like 1 chocolate quiche and no cutlery, please. Huh? How would you eat the quiche? Sometimes I think you're a grandparent. Maybe. Quite possibly. Well, not my own kids. I don't have kids. Oh, or maybe I do. I have 1 VTuber child. Does that count? Multiple PNG tuber children. Does that count? Also, don't clock me for my grandma fit, okay? This is a comfy cardigan. This isn't grandma fit. I think. Question mark. Okay, back to the game. I don't know. I think those are just you. Huh? Okay. You breathed deeply, picking out the various ingredients before your eyes could confirm it. It looked impressively made. Baxter led you toward the showcases. There were even added baskets of bread and other treats there. Every inch of space was fully stocked with options. Have you guys seen the Minecraft mod Let's Do Baking? Is that what it's called? I don't remember. My friend used to have a Minecraft server with that mod, and I wanted to make a cafe, but I eventually fell off the Minecraft phase for the year. So I never got to complete it. Clover Cafe Trio's ages are all like over 200 when they use websites. No. You do have kids in Clover Cafe. Oh man, my children. My children. 26-year-old snarky cafe owner, 24-year-old pirate wannabe, 10-year-old orphan. Yeah, my children. Mori, I don't know if anyone knows what mod you're talking about. Okay, well, that's just my that's just my Minecraft brain talking. I love the Minecraft pizza mod. Ooh. I'll check it out. I could make Five Nights at Freddy's in Minecraft. Yippee! Clearly, coming early has its advantages. Whether you ate anything or not, the sight was delightful. There was a charm to how they presented the fresh pastries. Yeah, freshly made. There was, that was the word he'd used when pitching the place. Charming. Baxter was right on the money there. It was a pleasant little cafe with a comfortably quiet atmosphere. Though it was a bit more formal than a typical coffee joint, you could sit anywhere and order at the front. A member of the waitstaff needed a seat and serve you. You found that detail to be a Baxter thing. It was absolutely him to choose a sit-down restaurant even for a casual breakfast. You're geeking today? Man. Oh, what do you mean? I was just talking about Minecraft and Roblox. Why are you calling me out like that? A server came over and gestured you to follow her through the room. She brought you to a shiny 2-seater table and passed out the menus. Welcome! I'll bring some water, but if there's anything else you'd like to drink, I can put in the order now. or you can take some time to think about it. You'd be a lifesaver if you brought back a black coffee, please. Ooh. Do we order now? Yeah, let's order. Hot coffee, iced coffee, americano, latte, cappuccino, espresso, frappe. Is it frap or frappe? I was never sure. Geek! You're missing the emoji. Chicken sandwich. Hello, Inspectora. Let's get hot chocolate. Why does my tracking like constantly? Oh, is it the eye open sensitivity? No. Hold on, chat. I need to stop looking like I'm so scared. Whoa, wait. I disappeared. Hello? Oh, you. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Alright. Okay, everything's good now. Second pronunciation. Mori. The first pronunciation sounds like a slur. Huh? What do you mean? Man. Do I need to reconfigure my eyesight? Okay. So it's called a frappe. Alright. Gotcha, I'll get that right out. Just relax and browse the menu. And you're welcome to take a peek at the front and see what baked goods we have prepared today. She clicked her pen closed and then left you two alone. Baxter sunk in his seat, slinging one arm over the back. His eyelids fell heavily closed, but his smile remained serenely in place.
Now.
Please order to your heart's content, whatever you fancy. But don't be alarmed if I don't have much of an appetite in comparison. Coffee is all I need this morning. Of course you'd only want a black coffee. Eepy man, yeah, eepy, sleepy. I will have a half black, half white coffee, please no eyeballs. No promises on that, Seiya. Are you sure you don't want even a little bite to eat? So much for us getting breakfast together, you teased. Wasn't planning on eating anything either. Are you sure you don't want a little bite to eat? Baxter's expression grew gentler as he silently watched you. When you didn't add anything else, his brows bent.
That's sweet.
You're so considerate, but trust me, I'm certain. I always intend to order a coffee. I never had much will to eat at this hour of the day. Okay. You nodded, and you were still concerned about him, but you decided to drop it. There was no use pushing him over his ideal breakfast. You weren't entirely sure if you were going to order anything yet. It was a deliberation you had with yourself, while Baxter took a break. Luckily for you, the cafe's layout was open enough that you could observe the glass cases from the front from the comfort of your seat. You passed the time comparing what was printed on the menu to the real-life displays. Soon enough, the waitress was on her way back to your table. She passed out the 2 waters and then placed a white cup filled with richly colored coffee in front of Baxter and a hot chocolate by you.
Perfect.
Perfect. Are either of you ready to order? I'm taken care of, thank you. Ooh. Let's get a pastry. Baxter opens his closet every morning and sees 1,000 eyeballs staring back at him. Yes, his only shirt is this eyeball shirt. Like, he has 10 different shirts that are just the same design. There was no way you could resist. The treats by the front of the cafe looked too good to pass up. The waitress smiled attentively and readied her pen. I'm all ears. I'd like a croissant, a piece of coffee cake, a muffin, a slice of banana bread, a cheese Danish, a fruit Danish, a cinnamon roll, a scone, a cookie, a piece of cake, a piece of pie, a cup of bread pudding, bread pudding, or a bear claw. Ooh. Chat, do we get bread pudding? I'd like some bread pudding. Once I had a taste of bread pudding, I was hooked. You can never... It'll take a while for me to get sick of bread pudding, I guess. Bread pudding is so yummy. Yeah. Alright, bread pudding it is. The peasant's pudding. The poor man's pudding. Great choice. That sounds really yummy. I'll get these menus out of your way then, and I'll be back soon with your order. He scooped up the menus and walked away, dropping them off at the front stand before disappearing into the kitchen. Baxter shifted his attention to you. Bread pudding, yeah. That's the best option. Have you tried it, Neil? Have you tried making bread pudding?
Lovely.
I'm pleased you're getting something to enjoy. Another long, wide yawn forcefully derailed Baxter's train of thought. He politely tried to shield you from the image by covering his mouth. Once he'd wrangled himself back into control, Baxter flashed you a grin, though it quickly lost its playful oomph as his eyes remained extra lidded. We're gonna ignore that noise. He had something in mind, but he also seemed fairly content to simply gaze at you languidly. Baxter lifted his coffee and pressed the edge of the cup to his lip. He takes a slow sip before putting it down. Baxter's propped arm against the table so he could hold his chin up. Normally, that would have been a casual gesture, but anyone watching could tell he's desperately needed the extra help keeping his head upright. I didn't make it before, but I do love it when my mom makes it. I'm gonna go help my mom with shopping. Can't even lurk. Good luck with the 5 hours stream. No! Have fun shopping, Neil! Fun dating tip. If the person you're on a date with yawns, try inserting as much of your arm as possible into their open mouth to reassure them and keep them focused. No! Wow, that's a really helpful dating tip. That'll wake them right up.
Is that fine?
Before food arrives and steals your attention away, would it be fine to ask a question? Oh, sure, ask away. What exactly is the event you have on the horizon? Nothing crazy. I'm going to see my aunt and uncle. I'm looking forward to seeing them, but I'm already missing Lee. Who's Lee? My cousin, their daughter. We're about the same age and are friends, but she won't be there this time. She's busy. That? Baxter tried to smooth things with a sweet smile.
I'm sorry.
I promise, it's not me being bored. He blinked and it was hilariously obvious that his eyelids didn't easily unstick. You bit down on the inside of your cheek and tried not to laugh. It's alright, you're tired. Exactly. Please continue. Yeah. Out of my aunt and uncle, it's my uncle who I'm directly related to. He's my mom's younger brother. We all get along. That's the part of my extended family we're closest with. Well, in terms of location. Laughing, you scratched the back of your head while you explained. Baxter nodded along, focusing on the sound of your voice. Golly. His smile softened as you grew more animated, speaking about your family. It's not that I don't also have a good relationship with everyone on my ma's side, but they mainly live in Hawaii, so it's a lot harder to see them in person. My grandparents used to be in California when me and Liz were little, so they could help out. But that was temporary, and yeah, it's nice having family where we can see more often. Your voice trailed off with fond thoughts about your family, and then your eyes snapped wide open. All Baxter did was ask you about your plans for the day, and somehow you'd end up rambling about so much more. Sorry for getting off topic. Nonsense. I enjoyed listening to everything you shared.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling me about your family. It was lovely to hear about them. That's a relief. Most people around already know about that, so it's been a while since I've gotten to talk about it. I'm glad I could offer you that opportunity. The waitress returned with your order. She placed it carefully on the table. Enjoy! Thank you. You didn't waste a single second and gave it a taste. It was good. Since you basically covered everything that about what you were doing later, you didn't need to juggle thinking, talking, and eating, just as Baxter intended. It was nice to preoccupy yourself with this treat. Baxter, meanwhile, only had his coffee, and he was acutely aware of that difference. Baxter pinched the inside of his lip between his teeth while he tried to search through his foggy thoughts for something to say. He wanted to be good company, but he wasn't sure how to accomplish this. I know. How about I tell you what happened while I was on my trip? Yeah, spill the details. In that case, then. Baxter sat up straighter in his chair and considered how he wanted to begin the story. He focused his mindset, momentarily overcame the tiredness that clung to him. As you know, I traveled to Northern California, and it was a monumental drive. Several hours of me, myself, and the road. That car was wonderful. It got me there and here again without a single issue. When it had every reason to rebel against all the potholes I accidentally hit. Baxter paused on that note and took a drink of his coffee. He placed the cup down on the table and winced. It's somewhat silly now that I'm vocalizing it, but I feel a tinge of guilt for all the miles I've managed to put on that vehicle over the course of this vacation. Sighing deeply, Baxter wore a wistful look. You understood the magnitude of his trip. Hopefully, his mysterious acquaintance was the laid-back type. On a brighter note, the drive was even more scenic than I imagined. It was a shame I couldn't snap a single picture. Still, I'm grateful I was able to leisurely travel across the state while I was here. Yeah, I bet. It must have been an incredible marathon of sights. And all that fuss to see some old family friends. I believe it or not, they're actually people my parents have known since well before I was even alive. Wow. Wow indeed. I can't even imagine knowing someone for that many years. Though, between you and me, I don't have much of a relationship with them myself. Really? But you went completely out of your way to see them. I know, they've always been fond of me, almost as if I was their own nephew. They're more than happy to open their door to me given the chance. Really? This might surprise you, or perhaps not, but I managed to get along famously with an older set. So, it was only polite to make a social call while in the relative area, and there was plenty to catch up on and discuss while I was there. We even happened to catch some fantastic shows. It's nice you enjoy the trip within your trip. Baxter's nose scrunched as he chuckled. He took another quick sip of his drink. I can't agree more. The two of you continued to chat about upcoming plans while finishing your drinks, and also in between several more extended and defiant yawns from Baxter. Eventually, he glanced towards the windows and his brow pinched. He didn't say anything on his own, so you asked, "What's wrong?"
Well,
I'm worried I might be keeping you too long from your other plans. It's not too late yet. I don't want there to be a yet. Your family's important. You wanna get going then? Yes, that would be for the best. He turned his seat until he caught where the waitress had gone. Baxter waved and she returned a minute later. Could we please have the check? Ooh, didn't Baxter say he was like... He said like, order anything you want. So is he covering my pastry and hot chocolate? That'd be nice. Alright, it'll be 1 ticket. You've got it, I'll get that for you right away. As soon as the waitress was out of sight, Baxter let out yet another yawn, but it morphed into a frustrated groan. I'm getting fairly sick of that. His tone didn't sugarcoat a single feeling. Pouting, Baxter crossed his arms and tightly shut his eyes. Unfortunately, coffee can only do so much. Baxter only murmured and roughly rubbed at the sides of his face. His frustration manifested visibly in a grimace. I can distinctly feel my own eyeballs in my skull due to the strain. His hand dropped to the table and the glasses rattled softly. Did the mic pick that up? Hold on. Yeah, I think. Question mark. What the heck? Why is my auto mod being like this? Hold on. Auto mod held a message for a reason. Sex-based term. Allow will post to chat. Right out of my brain. That's not a bad term. What the hell? Sure. Did you think it was strange that our waiter was like 10 and took a bite out of my bread pudding before giving it to me? Oh no, it's Maple! Oh no, she sneaked a bite! No! Why did the auto mod hold that? Man. What a weird cafe. Why do they have a child serving tables? Why do they have like a 10-year-old serving tables, huh? I hate that. I shouldn't have to be so aware of my own presence in this body. Oh no. I patted him on the shoulder. That's the worst. Sorry, Baxter. You patted him on the shoulder. You wanted to help him, but there wasn't anything else you could really do. Baxter cracked an eye open at your gesture. You've been more than gracious for sitting through my complaints. I don't mind. It would be better if I could do more. No, you've done more than enough. I shall live through it. You smiled at Baxter and Baxter generally tried to match it despite how he was feeling. The waitress approached once more with a small black folder and placed it on the center of the tabletop. Can I clear this? Let me try to do a Maple voice? Question mark. Can I clear? I don't really have a headcanon for her voice. I just figured like maybe it's my voice. Maple's voice is maybe my voice, but like a little bit pitched higher. I've often been told I sound like a 12-year-old anyway. Can I clear any of this away for you? No rush if you're not ready. Please, take it all. We're about to leave. The waitress got right to work gathering the cups. Baxter, meanwhile, picked up the folder and opened it. After a few moments, the server was off again, and Baxter peeked at you over the top of the folder. Thank you, Mori. I do appreciate you making time for me at the very last minute, and especially on a day where you were already so busy. Nah, thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
My headcanon for Maple's voice is that one Phineas and Ferb episode where Candace's voice gets super deep. No! No, The jazz blues voice. No! I can't even do that voice. I don't have the vocal cords to do it. I be lurking right now. Hello, Cyro. Thank you for the lurk. Of course, it's always a treat to see you. Baxter's half-lidded gaze lingered contentedly while he reached in his pocket. And then those tired eyes snapped open. He'd reached the alertness he'd been striving for in an instant. My wallet. He stared at you helplessly. Baxter was sober and extremely aware of the reality he'd found himself in. I didn't bring my wallet. When I got dressed, I did not recall to take my wallet off the nightstand. Oh, that's fine. It's fine, I'm not surprised considering how hectic things were. Darn, I hate it when that happens. Aha, that means this will be my treat. That's fine. You only got a coffee. That's like $2. You had more than enough to cover his black coffee. Obviously, this wasn't what Baxter had in mind, but what was one more hiccup today? Baxter didn't react at all to your suggestion. Understandably, Baxter was mortified. He threaded his fingers through his hair. I'll quickly run back and get it, and return. But then I'd have to abandon you here, and that's not any better. Perhaps they may take an electronic payment I could send through my phone? Take it easy, you got a black coffee, not a 4-course meal. I can cover for you. The corner of his mouth twitched, and you read that as a sign that he'd at least heard you. Though you suppose it was only because he had to reach a dead end on his own abilities to solve this problem. Baxter pressed his palms against his eyes and his fingers curled tightly. He released a slow, shaky breath. You reached out only to freeze halfway across the table. From his tense body language, he was trying with great difficulty to keep himself from getting truly upset. You shouldn't push him. You weren't sure how to help or what to do. You could only watch. He exhaled deeply once more, and this time he lowered his hands, holding them neatly on the table.
It's...
I would appreciate that greatly. He couldn't quite look at you while he spoke, though the forced politeness in his tone reached you completely. Good, this is nothing, I got you. You collected the check he dropped in his panic and slid your card into it. When the waiter swung by, you handed it over. There was no trouble to be found at this table. Thanks a bunch. Thanks a bunch. Just 1 minute. She walked off and you shifted your attention to Baxter. In that brief period, his shoulders had lost their defeated slump. He sat up stiffly upright instead. He studied your reaction with a delicate smile. Please don't misunderstand. I am entirely fine. The issue is with my behavior towards you. You don't need to force yourself to make me feel better. It was all my mistake. His lips pressed into a fine line and it was crystal clear he was preemptively stopping you from further okaying the situation. Your gaze dropped to the tabletop. The awkwardness was too stifling to do anything else. The way Baxter was beating himself up for perfectly normal missteps was horrible. You didn't like it at all. There was a reason why people call these kinds of situations accidents. Because there was no manipulative or malicious intent. His only crime today... yes, the typical provincial sound effects. A tricycle whirring past my house. With the loudest bike known to man. Yes, and it's not even the attractive engine purr that you want in a car. It's like the rundown, almost dying kind of motor noise. The motorcycle. I'm reading a very serious conversation right now. Why did you have to interrupt, Mr. Tricycle Motorcycle? His only crime today was being human and sleepy. It would have been great to remind him of all that, but Baxter was far too irked to hear any of it. He wanted to move on, so you bookmarked things there. The date wrapped up in a haze. The waitress returned your card and wished you both a wonderful day. Then you left. Baxter managed to muster up a few things to discuss in the car ride home, but the conversation was distant and disjointed from how you both normally clicked. You made it home safely, though not before his silence had time to form. The slamming of his door to exit the vehicle was the first you'd heard from Baxter in a while. The two of you stood on the street, face to face, but the awkwardness from the cafe had also come along for the ride, and it lingered forebodingly. It wasn't something you wanted to continue between you and him. Neither of you made a move to leave, a promising sign that he was struggling with the same thought. Baxter began sliding his fingers through his hair, and then he paused mid-motion and dug his nails into his scalp. His controlled expression strained.
I'm sorry.
Mori, this is all my fault. I not only forgot my wallet, but I made things increasingly worse by acting immature about it, undoubtedly making you uncomfortable. It may be hard to believe at this point, but I often can deal with unexpected issues Okay. I'm starting to have trouble reading. This is a thing that happens when I don't talk enough. Like, I didn't warm up to talk a lot. So I'm stumbling over words, is what I meant to say. Bear with me, we'll take a little break after this respite with well, not respite, but like after this conversation with Baxter, and then we head back home. I will be taking a break to help my pronunciation better, because yeah, my nostrils are tightening up. My sinuses, they're flaring up. What's your usual voice warm-up? I don't warm up. Unfortunately, I just jump straight into a stream. No voice warm-ups at all. It's not like I practice talking a lot. ? I don't know. Okay. It may be hard to believe at this point, but I often can deal with unexpected issues as a reasonable adult. Today stung a little more than usual. I'm big enough to admit that. It certainly did not help at all that this was coming on the heels of an already disastrous first impression. I had been hopeful I could still fix the overall impression by the end. Needless to say, I didn't succeed, and I'd completely understand if you were doubting the merit of a relationship with me at this point. Forgetting your wallet? And then that's grounds for a breakup? I mean, yeah, sure, you can be dramatic about it. I presented myself terribly to you. What a mortifying first date to go through.
But
However, if you're willing to, I would like to ask for a second chance. I can take you out again for drinks tomorrow night. Or rather, any night you have free. I promise the next one will be better. A dusting of a blush rose on his cheeks while he barreled through everything he needed to say before he could get a single word in. Finally, Baxter paused to breathe. You blinked, trying to absorb the magnitude of everything he'd said. Now that he laid all his cards on the table, there was nothing left to do but anxiously wait. Above all else, he'd wedged open a space for you to talk, and that was a relief. There was nothing terrible about what you did. Don't feel bad about that. You don't have to try so hard to impress me. I had a great time. I'd love to go out with you again. Yeah, this was fun. I got to see Morning Baxter. And have a coffee with some good bread pudding. Yes. I enjoyed it.
Really?
I had a great time. Really? Yeah, why wouldn't I? I know you're embarrassed. Chat, why are there so many motorcycles today? Huh? Or are they like doing a race or something? What is happening? I live in the middle of nowhere. Why is there a drag race happening? There's no drag queens here. Are they gone? Okay. Baxter, you have more merits than you have eyeballs, and you have like 200 of those. Yeah, let's go. Yippee! Let's go on that date. Yeah, why wouldn't I? I know you're embarrassed it happened, but I don't feel the same way. We had fun with a few problems that all worked out. Ah, you're far too kind. His gaze was gentle, if only for a single look. Baxter swiftly resumed his usual grin and confidence.
Very well.
I'll be in touch later with a specific time then, and potentially a suggestion for what you might want to wear. Have a lovely rest of your day with your family. Tell your mothers and sister I said hello. I will. Excellent. See you again soon. He waved goodbye and earnestly seemed to be in a much better mood than only a few minutes ago. He waved too, even though he turned his back up. Even though his turned back couldn't see. Bye. He steadily walked home, and once he was safely inside, you couldn't hold your frown any longer. All morning, Baxter acted as if he had to be the one who needed to earn approval. To him, you weren't individuals getting to know each other. He was an outsider who had to jump through hoops or be excluded. That was the impression you'd gotten, and that was more than upsetting. Maybe he took it hard because he was too tired. So tired. That felt like wishful thinking, but you thought so anyway. It was possible Baxter would be more comfortable after he rested. And if he wasn't, then you hoped he would allow you to show him that your company didn't have to be like that. Having to jump through hoops to be accepted, or else you'd be excluded from the group. Once again, I have played this route so many times, but that still resonates with me. I never really had like a set friend group. Not until like a few years ago when I got into a friend of a friend's Discord server, and then that became my main friend circle. But yeah, back then I didn't really have a group that I fit in. I'd have to like really be down to do anything with them to be able to be included, to even be considered to be part of the group, which was I felt really sad about that, because I did consider them my friends. But you know, sometimes you don't really click with people, or they were never really supposed to be your friends, ? And that's okay, that's life. And now I have an actual group of friends that will that will include me regardless of whether I have participated in their interests or not. Yeah, I guess. I'm just really happy to have friends. You get to your family dinner and your mom looks suspiciously like Baxter in a wig. Huh? Mom, is that you? Finding friends can be a challenge. I'm glad you were able to surround yourself with a comfy group of people. Yeah. It took some work, but I finally have a friend group that I don't have to jump through hoops just to be included in. I just chill there and they'd remember I'm there. And that they would invite me to things that they know I'll decline with, but they'll still invite me regardless. Like, they've invited me to play card games and Beyblade before, but they know that that's not stuff that I usually play, and they still keep asking me if I want to join. And then I do the same for them. Like with Roblox, I got to force one friend to play Roblox even though he hates it. Like he refuses to play it, but then I got to get him to play. Your old friend weren't friending? Maybe. Well, I do connect better online, so that's a thing too. My old friend group wasn't really active on instant messaging online, so I never really got to connect properly with them, so maybe that was like part of the reason why we drifted apart. Welcome back, Daisy. You should join Beyblade. Have you seen the video of the super OP Beyblade made from special metal? I have not. I only know about the Hello Kitty Beyblade being banned from tournaments because it was too powerful. Alright. The rest of the day was focused on your family, and it overall was a great one. It was nice spending the afternoon with your aunt and uncle, moms, and Liz. And you remembered to tell them Baxter said hi. You were half asleep when you finally made it home and collapsed onto your bed. Soon morning had come again. Okay, this is the next day. I will be taking a break. Where's the on break? Where's my on break thing? I need to rest my voice so that I can properly read the rest of it, because it's a really lengthy the next section is really long. So I'll have to take a rest to last long enough. Snack break, chat. Make sure to get your drinks and snacks because I'm getting mine as well. Alright, BRB. Alright, let me run another ad break while we take a little break, just so the pre-roll ads don't like turn on again. Haro Everinian. My voice is still a little hoarse. Might need to take a little more break. I did it. I made it. Hello? Is that Elijah? Fern. Screw my education. This is more. What the hell? Focus on school. At least tell me you're in recess or something. Remember to breathe into your nose unless one of your nostrils is randomly blocked, then breathe in through your mouth. No, not mouth breathing, please. I'm making ramen and getting my ramune out of the fridge. Ooh, ramen and ramune? Hey yo, I've only got breadsticks. I can't even open it. What? Why is this so hard to open? Alright, I'm having my own snack. Cyro Cat. Make sure you visit the Ko-fi page. Yeah, I have a goal right here. If you notice at the bottom of the screen, there's a goal. We're trying to get to the goal so I can get a better computer. Find breadstick pack. If you lie down and close your eyes, you can pretend you're a breadstick. Oh, I've done that before. Also, to the new people, my pronouns are they, them. I just have this kind of voice because I was born with it. I'm sick from school right now. Get well soon, Cyro. I'm still Elijah. Oh, okay. Man, you guys change your username or display names often. I can't keep track of it. So I don't know who you are once you change your name. Which is really effective if you wanna change your identity, I guess. Because I don't have a single thought being stored into my long-term memory. I only changed it because my parents almost found my channel. Ayo. Call me Cyro or Purple. Okay. Alright, I think I've rested enough to continue with the game? Question mark? Alright. I'll still be chewing on my snacks though, so you'll get to hear some breadstick ASMR. The afternoon that followed moved strangely fast and slow, because you knew there was another date at the end of it. Exactly as promised, you received a text with a set hour to meet him at his condo. Baxter informed you that it was going to be late when you'd be leaving, so he recommended you have dinner as usual. Apparently, this place did not serve meals, only drinks and appetizers. Interesting. I'm listening on one volume and I'm scared someone's gonna hear. I'm gonna mute it though because anxiety. Yeah, you can just read. Don't get caught, Elijah. Though I don't condone to whoever gets to catch Elijah, I do not condone his watching my stream at this hour during his school. He should be focusing on his schoolwork, not on the stream. You can't hear that because you muted it, Elijah. Pronouns are they, them. Alright, Cyro, we're the same. I'm going off on what chat says now. Along with that, Baxter made the eyebrow-raising suggestion that you should wear formal attire, even more interesting. He included an assurance that he'd be prepared when you were ready to leave. During dinner, you mentioned that you were going out for drinks with Baxter later. Your moms were still commenting on your plans when you left to get ready. Even a few teasing remarks over the dress code floated upstairs with you. When you opened your drawer, your mind was made up. You wear something formal. Baxter said formal, so we're going formal. Not grandly formal. Maybe. Formal. I'll tell you everything. No. It was odd putting on some of your nicer things. When you had no clue what you were even dressing up for. But there was also something exciting about having that mystery too. Looking at yourself in the mirror, you admired the sophisticated person staring back. It wasn't often that you did this. Slowly but surely, you were figuring out this growing up thing. There were a few more minutes left before you had to leave, so you made sure you had everything you might need while you were out. You ran through the essentials. Phone, house key, money, ID. As bad as you felt for Baxter, you didn't want to run into a similar problem of forgetting something important. It was a good reminder for both of you to be careful. Once you knew it was all there, you went downstairs and waved to your moms on the way out of the house. Their goodbyes and well wishes reached you as you locked up. You walked down the street and arrived to Baxter's house. Quite literally, seconds after ringing the doorbell, you heard the rattle of the doorknob turning. Oh. Now I feel like I'm underdressed. Hold on. Wait, I don't have a bow tie, I don't think. Do I? Can I download one? No, I'm not connected to Steam. Items. Change background? No. Item. Do I have a bow tie? Bow. Mustache. Tie. I don't have a bow tie! Okay. Let me find something to wear. There's nothing! No! Okay, I'll just... Alright. Let's go with this then. Let's just keep it like that. Mori be having technical difficulties and all. I'm just trying to find a suitable bow tie for me to wear at this formal event. Maybe I should just change to my original model. Yeah. Let's do that instead. I've never dressed formal except for like my leavers party, but I literally wore a suit. That is formal, ayo. This one. There we go. That's formal enough, right? Yeah. We always have technical difficulties, to be honest. That's just the unfortunate reality of streaming, folks. Alright, we're wearing formal attire now. Yippee! What even is grandly formal, like wearing a grand piano, the Roblox suit, a Shrek tunic? Why does your suit have no eyeballs on it? Why is your outfit so normal and nice? All his outfits are normal and nice except for his casual one with ripped jeans and eyes. Mori, that's definitely grandly formal. Bro, I'm underdressed. If I randomly evaporate from chat, I'm either dead or someone walked in, bro. Just focus on school, Fern. Sairo, tell him that. Tell Elijah to focus on school. The door casually opened. Not too fast, not too slow. And there on the threshold was Baxter, though this time he was in his pajamas, but instead a full suit. That was, naturally, also black and white. Hello, and thank you for coming. He took a deep breath. So much for looking the part. Honestly, you intended to dress properly, but Baxter was still in another stratosphere in comparison. That suit was probably tailor-made.
You are incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, a great fit, huh? You're fantastic, Mori. I can't tell you enough how delighted I am that you're accompanying me tonight. Mori, you're dressed for dinner with the king? Is my outfit grandly formal? Man. You sure? Absolutely. You'll be one of the best dressed attendees there. Thanks. I was hoping I wouldn't disappoint.
Never.
You? Disappoint me? I don't imagine that's possible. And this suits you. Oh no, the pun. That suit looks very good on you. So you brought a full suit for your summer vacation? Kind of hope you'd be in pajamas again. So you brought a full suit for your summer vacation?
Certainly.
Why, certainly. I knew I'd need it. Am I allowed to say smash dear battery? Oh. Now I'm trying to convince my parents to let me stay home. I think it worked. What? Okay. Figure that out, Elijah. They knew they had to have known his pajamas are his best outfit. Baxter carried himself proudly. He had enough experience to know just how charming he looked in formal attire, and his grin curved under your gaze. Though that's not much of a greeting, Mori. Oh yeah, hi. Now that you'd gotten a good eyeful, you could discern that Baxter was truly himself. The exhaustion and embarrassment from yesterday's morning adventure were entirely removed from his features. How have you been? You're definitely a night owl. It's nice to see you've gotten some rest. You were glad, but silently still worried about what happened before. How have you been? Quite well. I promise you, there won't be a single yawn out of me tonight. For Baxter's sake, he wanted to believe his ability to follow through on that promise. Though, who knew how late you were going to be out? It might be harder than he thought. You shook your head, trying to suppress the chuckle that image stirred up. Baxter flicked his wrist.
Now.
Shall we go? This isn't something we'd want to be late for. Lead the way. As you both climbed into his car and were off, I am eating my snack. It's the hair, his hair. The black and white hair, Well, I think you're gonna miss that once we reach the epilogue. Mari, real quick, normal cheesecake or chocolate cheesecake? I have never had chocolate cheesecake, so I'm going to pick normal cheesecake. Say that's not one of the options. Strawberry cheesecake. What's chocolate cheesecake? Just cheesecake with chocolate in it, I think. Okay, I'ma continue shopping. Have fun. Alright. Go get that normal cheesecake, Neil. Strawberry cheesecake is so good. I love fruit so much. Me too. I wish I could try blueberry cheesecake. Making blueberry cheesecake for myself without breaking the bank. Because last time I saw a can of blueberry preserves for like pie filling and stuff. It costed about 350. How do I compare that to like freedom units? I don't know. I don't have a good comparison, but like it was really expensive compared to the strawberry pie filling. Just get a pack of blueberries and mush it up in your hands. Discounts. The thing is, I also saw like a pack of frozen blueberries. Usually those are the frozen stuff are cheaper. They're the same price. The canned blueberry pie filling and the frozen blueberries are like priced the same, so there's no difference. I still can't get anything. I may be weird for saying this, but I don't like chocolate cakes. That's fine, Elijah. I might have to go soon. Okay, that's fine, Elijah. Have a good rest of your day. I am here having my snack. If I don't choke to death first. Okay, I have saved myself from dying. Have a good day /night /afternoon, whatever it is, because I'm too lazy to find it. Have a good day to you too, Elijah. Mori, you're not supposed to eat the breadsticks in one bite. They're not 2-bite brownies either. Are you okay? I heard something getting strangled. Yes, the dog getting strangled. I'm fine. I just ate one whole breadstick. These are like really small too. Like was it like 5 centimeters long? These shouldn't be a problem. But I still choke. Eat slower. The breadsticks will not run away. It'll get stale. I don't want stale breadsticks. Okay. Maybe I should read stuff first. Baxter drove you out of the neighborhood. Your attention lingered on the starry sky for a moment. Able to see a good view of the moon until he took a lazy turn. When you turned back to Baxter, his expression said little. He still offered no obvious hints about your destination. The only thing you could count on was that the place would serve some form of liquid. Probably. So, why recommend formal wear? Well... He diligently stared at the road, not yet out of the residential streets of Sunset Bird. You caught a glimpse of his excitement as he continued talking. If you recall, I mentioned how we saw some shows while on my trip within a trip. You could call that my inspiration. once you graciously accepted my invitation,
To be honest,
I began the endeavor to search for a particular performance we could see together.
to be honest,
I had high hopes for what I could manage, even with such short notice, and I happily doubt you shall be disappointed. He let his words settle, drumming up the anticipation. Coincidentally, the car rolled up to a stop at a light. He turned to you with a proud grin. Tonight, we'll be seeing a live show featuring a comedy of errors style romance. Comedy of errors style romance. His foot pressed on the gas and he turned to the main road. A show? It wasn't anything you were expecting, but then again, it was Baxter. You were getting the impression he liked to surprise you. Wait. What about drinks? Unless there's a cafe in the middle of the theater. That was a very misleading invitation. Not a cafe, but... Baxter's smile grew. He had expected your reaction. They won't go stale in 15 seconds? Well, the air's pretty dry. Maybe it won't. Fun date idea. Recommend formal wear and take your date directly to the nearest Chuck E. Cheese. Of course. That would be so fun. Baxter, your life is a comedy of errors style romance. They do serve drinks, an excellent selection from what I found. And it will only be drinks. There's no food on the menu. He shrugged his shoulders, not particularly finding that to be a loss. We were glad you weren't hungry. However, as promised, the drinks are crucial to the experience. You see, this isn't some grand arena. At some grand arena. You'll find tonight's entertainment is at the spectacularly immersive setting of a jazz bar. All patrons will witness the story unfold at that very room. His voice lowered, theatrically so, fitting for the topic of conversation.
does that sound alright?
Also, if you'd like, it's possible for the actors to interact with you directly. Ooh, we are part of the story? Immersion! The immersion! Seriously? Thank you, Baxter. That must not have been easy to get tickets. Oh, that sounds social. How very Baxter Ward of you. Whoa, that's cool. Seriously? Your incredulous outburst had Baxter chucked.
Oh,
Oh, I suppose it'll be a memorable evening. I know how it sounds, but trust me, there's plenty to entertain you. Your silence stretched out and Baxter tried again. If nothing else, their highly rated drinks will steal the show. I'll hold you to that. An interactive romantic comedy show at a jazz bar was a bit of a shock. With Baxter's assurances, you couldn't help but be curious. Whatever happened next would be unpredictable at least. Baxter drove into the heart of the city, passing by the twinkling lights of the urban night until he pulled into a public parking lot. He switched his phone's map app into walking mode. It's an 8-minute stroll from here. 8 minutes?! Is Baxter an actual Tokyo Ghoul character? Have we seen him consume anything except coffee? He has gotten ice cream before. We've seen him eat ice cream before. He's not a Tokyo Ghoul. He's eaten ice cream before. You shrugged, not needing to point out that walking tended to be your main form of transportation anyway. To be living in a walkable town. Imagine that. I live like a kilometer away from the nearest convenience store. I wish it would be walking distance. Both of you exited the car, and Baxter made a note of where exactly he was leaving. Luckily, the lot was well lit and located in a busy area. It'd be hard to miss. He led you across a road and then followed the sidewalk until his phone proclaimed that you had reached the correct building. Baxter got the door for you. Thanks. Of course. Inside, he switched his phone off of the map but continued tapping away at it. Now, where is it? He huffed as he scrolled the screen. You could immediately tell when he found what he was looking for from his reaction. He finally relaxed into his normal state of friendly nonchalance. Curious, you poked your head closer to read what it was. It made sense when you saw it was a digital confirmation of his purchase tickets. In front of you was a small line where a man would check tickets before moving onward. Baxter slipped into the back and you waited until it be needed. I'm glad we arrived on time. Missing the show was likely the only chance of this event going awry. We'd make it work even if we were late. The other guests were in line. Were dressed to the nines. Some were even in vintage clothes. Baxter's previous advice was correct. The wait wasn't too long. After chatting with Baxter for a moment, it was his turn to show his digital tickets. I almost said digital circus. No, the brain rot. A kilometer is totally walking distance. Not when you're walking under the blaringly hot summer heat, and then the sun is shining directly down onto your sorry little brain, frying your brain like an egg. I have to to get to that convenience store, I have to walk right next to the highway. so not really air quotes walkable in the sense that it's perfectly safe to walk there. But sure, it's walkable, I guess. Walking a kilometer on a frying pan just to get a slushie? Yeah. And then it's like overpriced sodas, overpriced ice cream. I have to pay the convenience tax. When it was not convenient at all to get there. Oh, the woes of living in the countryside. The usher was young, probably only a few years older than you. The bags around his eyes spoke to the fact that this was nowhere near the start of his day. Oh man, he hasn't slept yet. These are for you and your friend, right? You nodded and took a step next to Baxter, making it clearer that you were here together. Cool. Thanks for coming in. We're thankful for you having us. Baxter shoved his phone into his pocket for good once he got approval. He inspected the two of you and tilted his head to decide. Here's some ground rules before you enter the show. Everyone gets them. He began explaining the guidelines, a succinct list that he obviously said hundreds of times before. For the most part, the rules wanted you to act as a polite human being. You could do that. Last, if you want to actually participate in the show, you can take one of these necklaces. He pointed out a box full of glowing jewel necklaces. Each was gaudy enough that anyone wearing one would be noticeable in a crowd. Wearing one of these beauties means that you're part of the same world as the actors are. No necklace, no participation. The actors will treat you like an invisible audience member. You can still speak out if you're suddenly inspired, but nobody's gonna put focus directly on you. So, any takers?
My pleasure.
It would be my pleasure. Baxter volunteered immediately, and the usher fished a necklace from the box. Yeah, let's get one. I'd like one too. I'm going to bed. Night, guys. Glad I could finally catch another Mori stream. Alright, Zaya, have a good rest. Have a good sleep. Thank you for dropping by. The usher pulled out a second necklace and handed them out with an encouraging expression. Enjoy the show! You were waved off and allowed to enter into the showroom, past heavy double doors. The showroom was a sight to behold. It was. I wish I had I wish I owned a bar like this. But managing it would feel like a nightmare. I mean, I already hate accounting for my tiny little sticker shop. But accounting for an entire bar, ooh, I think I need to hire an accountant, an actual one. From floor to ceiling it was lit up, yet none of that was bright enough to be blinding. The bar was full of expensive bottles and gilded engravings. The back had a pit for musicians, large enough for a full band to play. The instruments were already set up. We were taken to the bar and seated at the 2 empty stools at the end. The booths along the walls were already filled with groups of other guests, laughing and clinking glasses. They had a full house. It was a popular event, maybe a bigger deal than what Baxter had presented it as. The ages varied. Some of the crowd was made up of fresh-faced 20-somethings, while the others were silver-haired elders. You may have even been the youngest in the room. And almost everyone was dressed up. Sequined dresses, fitted suits, and expensive jewelry as far as the eye could see. No broad generalization to be made about the kind of people who would watch a show at a jazz club, other than most of them knew how to dress. The few exceptions in casual clothes stuck out between all the elaborate, well-coiffed looks. That second usher bowed and left you alone, just for a bartender to appear out of nowhere and pick it right up from where they left off. They passed each of you a drink menu, smooth and practiced. Nice to see you tonight. Just let me know when you're ready to order. Of course. The bartender inclined his head cordially and then busied himself with polishing a glass with a white cloth. The jazz bar took the immersion seriously. Even the guys serving drinks had the proper aesthetic for the world that this show took place in. He wore a subtle eyeliner, and there was something about how he carried himself that made him seem like he'd wander off a movie set, especially with highly coordinated, shabby clothes for a uniform. You shared a look with Baxter before examining the menu. From first glance, it was impressive. In total, it held 5 pages of drinks, each with detailed descriptions, and some even had photos. You turned to the last section, entirely for non-alcoholic drinks. You read the blurbs, enjoying both the descriptiveness and the sense of humor. A few minutes later, a waiter in full suit turned up. His tie was a muted maroon, and the only thing separating him from his clients was his pad for taking orders. You wondered why he approached you rather than leaving you to the bartender. Maybe because it was so busy? Welcome to our show. Can I get you anything, or do you need some more time? Baxter leaned forward in his chair, no hesitation. I'd like a baby Bellini, please. Baxter passed the menu back. The waiter took it with a polite nod and then turned to you. This is Mint. Mint is our waiter. You glanced over your options with one final read-through and then said you would like... sparkling cider... elderflower cordial. I don't know any of these drinks. Fruit only martini. Ooh. Tropical fizz. Shirley Temple. Whiskey sour mocktail. Virgin pina colada. Virgin Mary. Is this like the non-alcoholic Bloody Mary? Damn. Oh man. Citrus sunshine mocktail. Let's go with a tropical fizz. You handed your menu over and waited to put it with Baxter's. He inclined his head politely one more time. Thank you, esteemed Gus. I'll return shortly. I have no idea how mint would sound like. Honestly, I don't know. Let me finish all my snacks before I actually talk. Alright. Oh man, I've been gunning it for 2 hours now. Oh my god. This is like the longest moment in Baxter's DLC. So it's a good thing I started like an hour early. But yeah. At some point, if I have like enough material from my comic Clover Cafe, I might host like a might do a casting call to find like voice actors for my characters for the main trio, and then I will do like a little animation with them. I don't know how to like run that project though, so I'll get there when I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. Burn it? No, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. Yeah, alright, back to the game. The waiter sauntered off and vanished through a side door away from the bar. Baxter's fingertips tapped the counter rhythmically. The soft sounds faded into a din around you. He met your inquisitive glance with confidence.
Not bad.
I knew what I wanted as soon as I saw that name. I firmly appreciate sparkling drinks as well as peaches. With a wicked smile, his voice lowered to a husky rumble. I would prefer it without the baby, however. Scandalous. Baxter, you shouldn't say that. Why am I not surprised? You do have some experience with my taste. In the distance, the musicians filtered onto the stage from backstage. The sound of tuning strings took over the soundscape as they prepared for the big event.
Exciting.
The action approaches. There were still a few minutes before he thought the production was scheduled to start. The air was full of anticipation, but still relaxed. The two of you chatted over your respective jazz music experience until the waiter arrived with the drinks. The waiter carried a silver platter with stiff formality. He passed out the glasses, not even leaving fingerprints due to his white gloves. Curiously, neither drinks had been filled at the bar you were sitting at. He placed your tropical fizz on the counter in front of you before setting down Baxter's baby Bellini. Thanks. Thank you so much. Gently, Baxter lifted his drink up to his lip and sipped the fruity beverage. He appeared as the very picture of sophistication, with a stem of glass in hand and a distant, unreachable gaze. 19-year-old. Trying to be a grown-up. Oh boy. Sitting there with him, everything suddenly hit you. His formal clothes, his fancy drink, the glamorous setting, and his dazzling smile all came together. He had pulled out all the stops for this adventure. It felt like whiplash compared to what happened with the far simpler, much more normal cafe date. It had to be intentional. He wanted to blind you with the glitz and glamour. You were certain that this sparkling glitz was his goal. He'd practically said it out loud with his original invitation. You were never going to underestimate him whenever he got an opportunity to prepare. You picked up your own drink and sampled the refreshment. It was delicious and had a pleasant consistency. Kind of a lukewarm description, I don't know. Pleasant consistency? It's a sparkling tropical fizz. I mean, I've had a soda addiction before. Sorry, what is happening? Hello, Alexis, welcome in. We are at a jazz bar. About to watch a improv show. No, not improv. Like an immersive romantic comedy play happening in front of our very eyes at the jazz bar. Yeah. Yes. And we're on a date with Baxter. Yippee! After a flicker of the lights and an electric moment of silence, you heard the sounds of a keyboard. The crowd hushed, waiting with bated breath, and the rest of the band kicked in. A saxophone cut into the song before being backed by a chorus of trumpets. A bass player strummed along while the drummer kept the time. Everyone around you straightened, on the lookout for something. Nobody was sure what, but they'd know when they saw it. The double doors from the front opened and all eyes were on a pair as they entered. The leader strolled in with her heels clicking against the glowing walkway. Her form-fitting evening gown sparkled in the dazzling lights. She strutted to the center of the room, a grimace on her red-painted lips. Beside her, another actor casually followed. They easily could have been passed over, especially with many of the guests around them dressed far more formally. The character was plain in appearance, especially compared to the glitter of the other. It took quicker steps and reached out. Both of the characters came to an abrupt stop at the center of the room. The glamorous one spoke loudly, letting her words carry over the band. "My darling friend, you know I don't have time for this. I have to prepare, let me get the voice right. I have to prepare for the show and must rest my voice. How else will I manage to sing?" The singer sidestepped away from her friend, greatening the space between them. "I do not want to discuss this." The friend shrunk away, but refused to back down. There was a fight in the way they stood. The singer sighed. She crossed her arms, her frustration towards the topic making her next words bitter. "It is more than enough that my parents and his parents keep bothering me. You don't need to add to that number, my dear." "I can't leave it alone, not when you're making such a mistake." The singer had put her hand up, dismissing her friend. Her movements were as sharp as her stilettos. "I repeat, I don't have time for this. I'm going to my dressing room." She swept across the room and then glanced your direction before quickly looking away. She exited through a door near the band. You were struck by her last expression. Was that sorrow? Longing? Either way, you had gathered the situation. The two were acquainted, and the diva was a performer at the venue. Her friend wasn't. They had come to offer unwanted but likely needed assistance. The music slowed down, suddenly somber from the frenetic energy of the singer's outburst. Her friend hadn't moved. They hugged their arms around themselves and slumped in defeat. You were so focused on them that when a voice came from right behind, you almost fell out of your stool. "It's like talking to a brick wall, isn't it?" Can I do like a deeper voice? Is that deep enough? You craned your head over to the bartender. He was the same man who had passed you the drink menu. He was still at work polishing a glass. It was part of the bit all along. That probably wasn't even a real bar. Yet again, their commitment to realism surprised you. The friend took a deep breath before rushing over to the counter. Now that they were closer, you could tell their clenched hands were shaking. They directed a scowl at the bartender at full force. "You need to talk to her." Unlike when they had spoken to the singer, these words were written out. They weren't as close to the bartender and not willing to allow him the same niceties afforded to their friend. The bartender scoffed at their face. He wasn't any fonder of them, but he was trying to retain an ounce of professional decorum. "Why would I? I've got no attachment to that lady." Now that the crowd was buying it, you heard unconvinced snorts through the room. "And she acted like I wasn't even here. Besides, she wants the stage and that's it. All I'm good for is watching her. Same as everyone else in the world. He gripped the glass tightly. You could faintly hear the polishing cloth squeak against it. She's not interested in my words, just as she told you. There's no time for that. The friend objected harshly, pointing a finger to the bartender's face. They weren't letting him get away with such a falsehood. She can't admit it because you won't admit it. You're making me laugh, kid. The only folks who want us together are you and our parents. He shooed the friend away by flinging his hand through the air. He had the audience captivated, half of them flinching from the gesture. I'm working. Don't block the bar. The friend tossed their hair at him before they sulked away. They waved at a booth of necklace-wearing guests and then slid onto the edge of the cushion. They rolled their eyes and their entire head along with it, intentionally exaggerating, and their new table mates snickered. I don't know how I put up with either of them. We were starting to get the feel for the show. All the actors' behaviors were turned up to 11 for the sake of comedy. At the heart of the story was clear. The venue's singer and its bartender were in love, and wouldn't admit it due to outside pressure and fear that the other didn't feel the same. The clattering sound brought your attention back to the bartender. He put the glass he had been polishing away. With his hands free, he idly glanced around for his next task. He settled on you and Baxter. Oh no, we're in the spotlight, chat! Chat! No! We're in the spotlight! His gaze dropped to your necklaces, and he gave a professional smile. You were both in the story world. Alright. Can I get either of you anything? Refills, a new drink, on the house. Consider it an apology for all the ruckus. He leaned over the counter and nodded pointedly at the friend. They blocked their face with a hand and sunk into the booth, trying to escape the stare. One of the guests at their table happened to have a paper fan and held it out to them. They gratefully took it and hid behind it instead. The bartender shook his head, fed up. Baxter, meanwhile, grinned.
Gladly.
It would be delightful. I could use another baby, Bellini. Of course, sir. Even while the picture of poise and polite manners, Baxter gave the air of being quite smug over the formal address. The bartender shifted closer to you. You could smell how you could now smell his spiced cologne. And you? I could get another round of this, or maybe not. You picked up your... People are talking. Okay. You picked up your glass and swirled the drink. Not wanting to hold up the show for long, you asked the bartender for another tropical fizz. No doubt about it. Got it. Wait, did we pick tropical fizz? Okay, tropical fizz. The bartender looked around the shelves of the fake bar but scratched his head. Oh darn, I'm missing something. I always tell the owner he needs it. This is the bartender. What was the voice that I gave him? I always tell the owner he needs to keep this place better stocked. He grumbled a little more, earnest complaints. Not one to give up, he thought about his options. The crowd tittered with amusement as the friend peeked out with a flush on their cheeks from the other side of the room. If I'm right, there's some in the back. I'll return with your drink soon. Of course, there's no need to hurry. I appreciate it. Baxter lifted his existing baby Bellini with the drama of a supervillain. You wondered if he was being unaware or trying to put on a good show. Baxter threw his the bartender. There's a bunch of people singing outside now. I don't know what's happening. There's like a choir? Oh no, maybe the Christmas carolers are early this year. No, it's not even December. No. No. No, not like this. Time is it? Please don't be Christmas carolers. The bartender threw his cleaning cloth over his shoulder and briskly abandoned his station. He disappeared through a curtained door beside the bar. You guessed that the real drink station was through there. You'd noticed the actual waiter bounce from table to table fulfilling orders, even during the performance. It made sense to keep the supplies somewhere off stage so that the bar could keep putting out drinks no matter what was happening with the story. Without the bartender, you and Baxter had to reorient yourselves as to where the action went. Most of the crowd's eyes were away from the tables. The Frank character had scrambled out of the booth and paced along the length of the room. They were still troubled and stopped just short of biting their nails. Just as they clasped their hands together, the singer made her reappearance. Music swelled as she sashayed out of her dressing room, once more the center of attention. Her presence spellbound the crowd and instantly taking focus. Ah! The friend cautiously crept over to her, stepping around the tables between them. Feeling refreshed? Of course, darling, I'm a professional. Speaking of professionalism, why don't you say hi to the bartender? Why didn't you say hi to the bartender earlier? He's here, you know. He is here, you know. The singer scoffed, echoing the exact same cadence the bartender had before. They were a perfect match for stubbornness. He doesn't like me, he made it very clear. He told his parents as much. He told my parents. She struck a defiant pose, sounding utterly disgusted. Who does that? What a cad. Her friends scratched the back of their head, their face twisted comedically as they chose their words with care. Didn't you tell his parents that you did not like him when they suggested it? I also recall when your parents accused you of being attached to him, you denied vehemently with him in the room. The singer huffed but didn't deny the events. She and the bartender's relationship was messy. And is it true that you do like our illustrious bartender? If your foolish parents hadn't meddled, you would be all over each other by now. Ha! The singer let out a deliberate, prideful laugh. It was dark and barely concealing very real hurt. Don't even pretend he doesn't care for me, and I don't care for him. She cast her gaze over the pockets of attendees, gathered around her, and spread her arms wide. I bet everyone in this room heard him bad-mouthing me as soon as I left. Didn't you? He said you were like a brick wall. He said he didn't like you. He said he doesn't think you liked him. You nodded along with her assessment. She shook her head, trying to show her she was wrong. I'm not gonna take an active part in this. I'm gonna watch quietly. Several other guests responded to the call. Some were casual, but others with necklaces got very into it. Wait, no! I just pressed skip. Oh shit. Chat. Oh god. Alright. Yes, we watch it. Alright. Actually, since we got like 30 minutes left until 5 p.m. we gotta speed through this. I'll be speed reading? Question mark? Yeah. Because this is a really long segment. And I need to get this finished by 5. So, yeah. They got into it. He's jealous you're a star! See? But have you seen his hard eyes for you? Sounds like you need to get your eyes checked. That's a death glare. All in all, the crowd seemed to go half and half, going back and forth, arguing with the singer. The room finally settled, and the singer had passed along a few more barbs about the bartender. Can't you please hear me out? The singer groaned and shrugged out of her friend's embrace. She backed up with a frown. I need a drink. She spun to face the bar before thinking better of it. Apparently, she didn't need a drink that badly. Not here, of course. I have standards. The sole of her shoe tapped on the floor. She needed action to deal with all the restless energy. I believe this counts as an emergency. Please hold. I need to fetch my crisis bottle from my purse. And then she went off to her dressing room. Her friend stood alone in the center of the room. The decrescendo of the music made the room quiet. In the distance, a door slammed. The diva has reached her room. The abandoned friend winced at the anger of the noise. They closed their eyes and mentally counted to 10. Slowly, their stance unwound and they forced themselves to relax. Okay. The last actor left spoke to the entire room, projecting their voice loudly. While they're gone, does anybody have any ideas to get those two to admit their actual feelings? It's been weeks of me putting up with their arguments. I'm sorry to say it, but I'm plumb out of ideas. People began to shout or whisper amongst the groups. All suggestions, not all ideas were positive or even workable plans. Just give up! I'm too stubborn for that. They aren't getting out of this that easily. Lock them in a bathroom together until they confess. I've tried that last week. My friend knows how to pick the lock. No! Try making the bartender jealous. Set her up with someone else. I'll do it. Wait. Aha! Friend spied a vase full of flowers on a table near the back. He scrambled to collect them into a bouquet. These should work. The flowers can be given to our singer in celebration to her performance. If she thinks they're from the bartender, maybe. The new electric smile on their face contrasted their previous expression. For a moment, though, they faltered. But I can't give these to her. She'll know immediately that they weren't from the bartender. Would anyone else be willing to help out? I know those two aren't giving the best impression, but when they aren't trying to prove each other wrong, they're very cute together. They searched through the crowds, brow furrowed. Please? Chat, do we volunteer? Hey chat, do we volunteer? Do we give them the bouquet? Maybe. I don't want to. Let's have Baxter do it. Baxter! After no one else stepped forward, Baxter lifted his hand politely.
I can do that.
I would not mind assisting. Thank you. The friend bounded over to Baxter and passed him the bouquet. He took it confidently and nodded. You're saving my sanity. They keep getting worse. Anyway, here's the plan. Although their tone was hushed, you'd be when sharing a secret. Their pitch carried throughout the space. They were a talented actor, especially without any microphone to aid them. I'll go get her. You need to call her over and pretend the bartender got those flowers for her, but was too shy to hand them over directly. Agreed. I shall endeavor to make her believe. The friend gave a thumbs up and scampered off to where the singer had left. Baxter inspected the flowers he held. The colors were vibrant. The bouquet would fit the starlet singer. Well, circumstances aside. A familiar smirk appeared on his lips. He delicately stroked the petal with the back of his knuckle. His voice was low and in your ear.
You know.
This is unlikely to work, but I do admire the friend's effort. Oh, shush you. You affectionately tried to hush Baxter. His grin only grew. I think much of the crowd is skeptical. That's part of the fun. The door to the singer's dressing room swung open, and a friend pulled the singer back into the main room. Their arms were locked together, but the singer was dragging her very tall high heels all the way. In one manicured hand was a tiny bottle, no doubt the aforementioned emergency alcohol. Kaito! Hello! Hello, Kaito. I'm here I'm reading out a stage production in a jazz bar. Hi, how are you? No doubt the aforementioned emergency alcohol was already half gone. No! Oh hell yeah, yeah, stage production. It's not good to stay holed up by yourself all the time. You don't need to hide from everyone. I'm not hiding, I'm simply very busy. Since they weren't a fool, like the parents, the friend didn't buy that at all. Once the friend reached the center of the room, they released the singer. She rolled her shoulder back, still affronted with the rough treatment. Kaito is tired because I just got home from uni, but uni was so cool today. I perfected so many tests and presented something with the highest grade. Whoa! Good job, Kaito! Let's go! Perfect on all the tests. Hey yo! Showtime! I gave it my all today. Yippee! And now you get to sit back, relax, and watch me stumble and try to voice 3 different people at the same time. Maybe 4, maybe 5.
Hello.
Excuse me. Baxter leaned back on his bar stool, almost lazily, and waved at the singer. I'd hate to bother you while you're so busy, but I have a gift for you. The singer dramatically faced him, her hair swishing with the movement. She sized him up, the flowers catching her attention. His smile was calm as he held the bouquet out to her. It's from an admirer. Boldly, the singer walked up to him, heels clacking all the way. She was interested, but suspicious. What admirer? Why, it was the bartender. How unexpected. Miss Starlet gasped and pressed both hands to her chest. She squinted hard at the flowers as if it was a nest of snakes. She unscrewed the cap of her small bottle and tipped it between her pursed lips. She chugged the remaining liquid down. Oh, I need to get drunk for this. That had a huge laugh from the audience. She slammed her empty bottle down on the bar's counter and gasped for air with a frightening glare. But gently and slowly, ever so slowly, she reached out. Her fingertips touched a single flower stem. She paused, then finished the movement and wrapped her digits around it. Baxter patiently remained still for as long as she needed to process the present. Without warning, there came a shout from the far end of the bar. Got your drinks right here! Every head turned to see the bartender making his reappearance. A tray of drinks balanced on his right arm. Sorry for the wait, just had... He froze mid-sentence, staring at the scene he'd returned to witness. The singer standing next to Baxter, being offered a bouquet, a single flower clutched in her hand. Hi Daisy, welcome back. It was deathly quiet. Oh, this is not what it looks like, Mr. Bartender. You could have heard a pin drop. Even the band had stopped playing until... No, I'm not gonna scream today. my voice is already worn out. I've been talking for 2 hours, 2.5. Ah! Suddenly, the singer let out a mortifying shriek. She flung the proffered flower and bolted, beating a frantic, desperate escape. BFD ice cream. I don't know what that means, Daisy. She careened around the corner and then... Slam! The deafening sound of a door being rammed shut. Another awful silence formed. Having remained frozen when the singer fled, the bartender's attention returned to where you and Baxter were at the bar. His eyes were drilling holes into Baxter, his glare darting between his face and the remains of the bouquet, which he was still holding. He had been caught red-handed, literally, on account of the roses. Scream? No, nil. Hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate redeem. It was unspeakably awkward, even though your brain was screaming, "It's not real!" You couldn't help but be swept up in the overwhelming sense of unease filling the room. Slowly, the bartender marched over to the counter, his footsteps weighty and full of intent. He firmly set down the tray of drinks. Glasses rattled angrily, but not a drop was spilled. Then he cocked his hip and folded his muscular arms, striking a pose which felt more threatening and bristled with suspicion. "Well now, I see how it is." He flicked a finger up and down, sizing Baxter up with it. "So this piano-headed chump is who I'm losing to? Really? Piano-headed chump! I'm so glad for the 5-hour stream. No!" The rather silly epithet got a fair number of titters from the audience, but the bartender wasn't laughing. He made a bitter sound at the back of his throat and shook his head. He muttered angrily under his breath. "I should have known." "Wait!" A cry came from the other side of the room. The mutual friend, face distraught, and was bustling their way over, limbs flapping with panic. "I can explain. It's all a misunderstanding. What I'm trying to say is..." Stumbling over their words, the friend attempted to lay out the situation. The flowers were all part of a plan to get the singer to admit to her own feelings. As the friend nervously rambled, Baxter placed the bouquet down on the counter cautiously, but firmly. Then he threaded his fingers together in a silent promise to swear off the florals. At first, you weren't convinced it would work. The bartender's expression was thunderous as a summer rain cloud. His brows were set in a 90-degree angle, stern as steel. But as some of the other patrons began to chime in with words of confirmation, his dark countenance began to clear. A number of emotions melted into each other on his face. "Hello, Stara! We're watching a stage production in a jazz club, and I'm here acting out all the actors." I am currently trying to voice at least 4 characters, minus myself. Minus myself and the narrator. Why is it so descriptive? I mean, it has to be. Grown men being zesty. No. Well, you have to be descriptive in a written visual novel, Stara, because there's not a lot to go off of in terms of visuals. Like, it's just a hand. What kind of imagination can I get from just the hand, you know? Anger became confusion, confusion became understanding, and understanding became acceptance. He let out a long, tired sigh and unfolded his arms. Okay. I hear ya. You were only trying to help. I'm sorry. He directed his apology to Baxter. I shouldn't have gotten angry. There's nothing wrong with your hair. Don't worry. I saw you holding those flowers and lost my cool. He chuckled bleakly. That's on me. I'm the problem here. Oh, he's being sad boy. He's being a sad boy right now. I'm the problem here. At this, he hung his head and slouched where he stood. I can't believe she'd run away like that. Screaming as if she'd seen a ghost. Like I was the worst thing in the world. Is it really awful being around me? Am I really that bad? His voice was thick with emotion, pain behind every word. There was barely a dry eye in the whole building. A chorus of sympathy rose up from the people around you. Sounds of comfort and encouragement in equal measure. Okay, I guess he's emo. Maybe he's just sulking. Maybe he's just in the I'm not good enough phase. The tender walked behind his bar and came to rest his palms flat on the counter, his thick arms spread wide. I wish I knew what to do, you know? If only there was something. Anything. Emo. No. It was a frank admission laden heavy with resignation. He bowed his head again and was silent. There was a pointed pause. Into it, you heard Baxter gently clear his throat.
Honestly.
If you'll permit me to say, it can be hard to know what to do in these kinds of situations. But the important thing is that it's making you unhappy. Once you realize that, it should at least be obvious what not to continue doing. Dancing around your feelings like this will only lead further and further from what you want. So why stick to the same old tune? The bartender gradually lifted his face to peer up at Baxter with an inscrutable expression. If you like the charming singer, then what could you ever have to gain by insisting otherwise? You don't need to propose or anything equally drastic, but why push her away when all you want is to get closer? His voice gained a faint lilting cadence, almost like he was a singer too, before it tapered away to nothing. On the countertop, you saw the bartender clench a fist. You got me pegged. You and everyone else in this joint. So I like her already. What good is that? She thinks I'm a joke. I wouldn't be seen dead with someone like me. She wouldn't be seen dead with someone like me. We all know that too. You saw what just happened. Am I supposed to make myself look like an idiot? Waltz on over and tell her we should be pals? I'd be straight up begging to be laughed at. I couldn't take it. Not from her. My friend is right, you know. You're only making it worse. Well, what you're doing, you're already embarrassing yourself. It's always hard to put yourself out there, but isn't it better than the alternative? Putting myself out there. I am doing it right now. I am doing that with my stream. I'm putting myself out there. Am I being found? That's a question that might never get answered, but I'm still out there. Find me. I'm right here in front of you. You found me, and make sure help other people find me. Yes. Yes. It's always hard to put yourself out there, but isn't it better than the alternative? One hand came up to scratch the nape of his neck, in a universal gesture of awkwardness. I guess you have a point there.
I get it.
I understand the concern. You didn't go any further than you're able. The key is that you step forward in the first place, or at least resist the urge to continue moving backwards. When the time comes, don't pull away. You'll only regret it later. Chat, take a note of this. This feels like foreshadowing. When the time comes, don't pull away. You'll only regret it later. Foreshadowing. The bartender rested one arm across the counter, easing into a stance that was more casual. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. His body language was loosening up. You gathered that he was mulling over what had been said, taking it all in. After a short while, he cracked a callous grin. You know, it's usually other people who want me to listen to their problems. And by listening, I mean I just help them pick a poison. You know, blunt the edges when nothing else can. Never thought I'd be the receiving end though. I'd be on the receiving end though. Shoot, I forgot ice on your drinks. I'm being real sloppy tonight, letting personal stuff get in the way of business. Sorry about that. He began to walk away towards the heavy curtain. his black shoes echoing loudly on the floor. Let me go take care of that, and maybe cool myself off for a sec while I'm at it. Yeah, get those ice cubes, man. We'll be waiting for the free drinks. With a click of his heels and a swish of a curtain, he was gone. Now what? Became the unspoken consensus of the audience. An answer came shortly. Psst! It was in the form of a loud hiss from the other side of the room, from behind the corner where the singer had vanished. Her focus swung back to the lady in question, putting her head out. Shy as a dormouse, she cupped her fingers around her mouth, keeping to a stage whisper. Is he gone? Various assenting voices chimed in. Baxter flashed her a quick thumbs up. Seeing as the coast was clear, the singer's head vanished for a brief instant before reappearing, the rest of her following along. She swanned her way to the main area, oozing feigned confidence. All the terror of her departure had gone, hastily pasted over as though nothing had happened. Alright, I need to hydrate again. How are we doing, chat? Are we still alive? Are we still good? Alright. She brought up a hand to shade her eyes, casting a look around the room. Her immaculately lipsticked lips parted. Has my dear, delightful, meddlesome friend finally decided to beat it too? Not yet. The friend's voice called out from somewhere behind you. While everyone's attention had been elsewhere, he had managed to collect the desired bouquet. Man, I don't think I'm using consistent voices for these characters. The only thing consistent, I think, is Baxter's. In their other hand was the lone flower the singer herself had pitched. They held it out to her. I'm sorry about the flowers. I lied. They weren't from him. They never were to begin with. The singer clapped over her mouth in shock. What? You tricked me! Her cry, projected clear as a bell, ringing with hurt and betrayal. Her pristine face was crumpled into a furious scowl, directed first at the friend and then everyone else in the room. And you were all on it! All in on it! The friend darted to her side in an effort to placate, babbling apologies over and over with a mollifying tone. I know, I'm a terrible friend, and I shouldn't have done it. Finally, something we can agree on. Fine, I deserve that, but just hear me out, okay? Even though they weren't from him, there's nothing stopping you from flipping this on its head. I'm not sure I like where this is going. I'm a singer, not an acrobat. It's easy. When he comes back, why don't you give him the flowers to... why don't you give the flowers to him? The singer stared blankly for a few seconds, then tossed her head back and bellowed with laughter. Her once lyrical voice was now cold and callous in timbre. Oh, my darling friend, you should really consider joining the circus. I've never heard something so ridiculous. Ludicrous. This is serious. I just know it'll work, believe me. I'll be rooting for you. And not only me, you all think so too, right, gang? All their prompting... the room was filled with shouts of agreement. Yeah! We'll be right behind you. It's okay, don't be afraid. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? The comments came bright and fast. More people pitched in with remarks about what had happened while the singer was gone. Others simply nodded along. Though she really readily dismissed her friend's suggestion, the audience's reaction seemed to be more convincing. She stood in the middle of this flurry of sound, head cocked, listening intently. At the very moment there was a shifting behind the curtain entrance. And the bartender carrying a palm-sized metal bowl filled with ice came in. For the second time this evening, everyone froze in place. The singer rotated on her heels slowly to face him. His eyes were wide with surprise. Suddenly, she stumbled forward. The mutual friend had given her a nudge, knocking her off balance and toward the bartender. She wheeled around to glare at them, before snatching the single flower her friend still held and about facing once more. She laughed a thin, nervous laugh and took one small step closer. The wide expanse separated them. Her footfalls echoed. One step, two steps. Then she halted, too afraid to continue. She wavered on the brink of turning back. All at once, the crowd made good on their promise. Hollers of encouragement came from booths behind her. Whoops and cheers and whistles of, "Don't give up now! Woo! You can do it! Come on, girl! I believe in you! Woo! You can do it!" Once again, the singer crept across the room as though expecting to be attacked at any moment. The bartender was a statue, watching motionless, inch by inch. The distance closed. When only a few feet remained to separate them, the singer paused. She cast an anxious look from her target to where you and Baxter were sitting. Why do we have special attention? Is it because we're seated at the bar? That's where the special attention gets. Guests are seated. At your side, Baxter smiled and inclined his head in and out. He followed suit, giving her 2 thumbs up and a big grin. What are you waiting for? With the poise and slowness of a puppet yanked on strings, she extended her arm. The flower gleamed in the dim light of the bar, a flush of red hanging in the air between them. The bloom was fragile, frail, vulnerable, like a naked, helpless heart, offered up in a prayer. Everyone in the room held their breath. Oh, Mademoiselle Carmen, the thorns of your love will take root. I've been reading Emerald Midnight's Lover on Webtoon recently, and whenever I think of a rose, I just think of the play that's featured in the Webtoon about Carmen. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Read Emerald Lovers. If you can handle mature themes and topics 16 plus, read Emerald Midnight's Lover on Webtoon. It's great. It's amazing. I love it. I would read it. Yeah, we really don't know. Read Emerald Midnight's Lover on Webtoon. It's a very interesting drama webtoon that has kept me hooked week after week. I am currently waiting for the next update. Yes. Okay, Mori, whatever you say. Why are you treating me like a grandma? Talking about my little show tunes. my little romance novels. Why? Man. Okay, let's continue with the story, I guess. The two held each other's gaze, neither speaking a word. He knew, and she knew. This time was real. Alright, Granny, let's go back to bed. 5 p.m. reminder. It's 5 p.m. No! I need to be quick. I just need to finish this. Like, really fast. The bartender placed the bowl of ice on the bar. A moment of choice, a crossroads. He walked over, caressed the petals of the single rose, light as a feather, and then he accepted the flower. I'm just skimming through now. The response was immediate. The space exploded with applause, cries of delight coming from all and sundry. The friend jumped up and down on the spot, suppressing a squeal. High fives were exchanged. Baxter and you shared a look of silent satisfaction. The winter cold swapped for the first blooms of spring. Do we get our drinks? He hastened over to you and dropped a handful of cold, possibly metaphors in yours and Baxter's glasses. He parted again with a wink. Oh, we got our drinks! The first climactic moment, the remainder of the story barreled ahead. No sooner had the lovers begun to open up to one another than the further complications reared their heads. First came the parents, who had always claimed they were fated. They were keen to steal the match and win the satisfaction of lording it over everyone. Nobody could bear the thought of granting them the satisfaction, and so began the elaborate schemes to keep the two families out of the loop. Why? Tragedy devolved into farce. Every step the audience had a part to play. One scene saw a group of patrons acting as a diversion, keeping one of the parents occupied while the lovers made their escape. You and Baxter were recruited to slide secret notes along the bar while nobody was looking. Even the band got to help. The singer's defined aria transmuted into one of passionate, heartfelt longing. It was a flurry. Everything happened all at once. All through the carefully coordinated mayhem, the actual waiter, diligently continued to cater to the patrons, serving more drinks, clearing tables, and lighting candles. He ducked and weaved between chairs and bar stools and the other characters, sometimes even participating in the action, but normally fading into the background. At some point, he and the singer collided, but it was part of the performance. They both expertly caught the glasses before they fell, to loud approbation from the audience. The journey was precarious, full of twists and turns, but with everyone's help, the protagonists were finally able to face their feelings for each other. When the confession came at last, a deafening cheer went up. The two shared a kiss, and the room was plunged into darkness. The band struck up a lively tune. When the lights came back on, all the actors took their bows to well-earned applause that seemed to last for hours. Finally, the floor cleared. Oh, the stage production is finished. The lamps dimmed to their usual twilight. It was finished. Love had triumphed, at least for one night. The show was over and things started to wind down. There were no more performances booked, but it was still a good while until closing. They enjoyed the room like a normal bar. Band played and others enjoyed their drinks. Some people were discussing the performance and the atmosphere was convivial. Baxter let out a contented sigh and fiddled absent-mindedly with his second baby Bellini. He barely touched it since it arrived. Seeing that you were aimlessly looking around, he caught your eye with a tilt of a head and a quirk of his brow.
What do you think?
Now then, was the show to your liking? I'm all ears, and you can be honest, it can be a lot to take in. At least I had the experience. No, are you kidding? It was so fun. It was pretty interesting. It was really wonderful. I guess I've seen worse shows before. Bro, it was so fun. I'm glad to hear that. They put a lot of effort into their craft. The dedication to entertainment is commendable. I mean, you need to do like a lot of improv and stuff for this live. You might be interested to know the shows aren't always like this. They have quite a wide selection of different genres. The murder mysteries are always popular. I want to go there. I want to join the murder mystery show. But I wasn't sure how you'd feel about an interactive performance with the capacity for violence. Those can get rather intense, to say the least. Even the play we saw is rarely performed the same way twice. Really? As far as I've heard, they often chop and change the premise, shuffling the characters and even events around as needed. You can recall the ever-suffering friend, desperate to help the fated couple find love? Well, some nights it is they who charms the hearts of the singer. Or the bartender. In that situation, the third party is instead refusing their help. their help out of kindness, not wanting to get in the way of their own possible romance. Sometimes the characters' families detest one another, Romeo and Juliet style. Ah, Akshu, me. Other nights, the singer and bartender dislike each other too, but pretend to fall in love in order to spite their own parents. And then, of course, it happens for real. On other occasions, they simply play hard to get, faking a quarrel for no reason, other than to frustrate their would-be matchmakers and laugh at them with the guests in private. So you see, there's an enormous potential for telling a whole host of different stories. But usually the core idea is the same. Two characters, for whatever reason, are walking past each other. Are always talking past each other. Always failing to communicate. And it's up to the audience to lend a hand. That's me! That's me, chat! I'm the one that lending a hand. I think it's a fascinating concept, personally. A very novel form of entertainment. You listened attentively. Regardless of what you thought of the performance, it was nice to hear him passionate about something. He spun from side to side on his bar stool, a dry smirk on his face. I suppose I find the fundamental concept rather amusing too. It's so obvious from the outside the way the characters let their pride become an obstacle to their own happiness. As I've said before, if they want each other so desperately, what point is there to say the opposite? Chat, take note. What's the point in saying the opposite? It's plainly not right to yourself and the one you care for, and so unpalatable that it compels us, the supporting cast, to action. Just right for interactive theater, I suppose. Note taken. Yeah, being honest with yourself is a choice, and so is being dishonest. People's feelings aren't always as easy as that, though. Everyone has their own struggles. Are you saying you've never pretended to be something you're not? Of course, Baxter Ward couldn't understand the concept of being shy. People's feelings aren't always as easy as that, though. I suppose. And what might be easy for one person may not be the same for another. I bombastic side-eye to you? Emotions are more nuanced and can't truly be replicated in other forms exactly. It's all relative. Eventually, a little voice in the back of your head prompted you to speak again. Thanks for the tickets, and the ride, and everything pretty much. You know how to treat a date. It's honestly surprised that Baxter had been able to get seats at such a short notice. It seemed like the place was pretty popular. The performance you'd watch had been a full house. Daisy would have liked that joke. Bombastic side-eye? I mean, yeah. Unable to hide your curiosity, you put the question to the man himself. Where exactly did you get the tickets for this? Instantly, Baxter's face tensed, his easygoing smile losing some of its effortlessness and tugging down at the corners. That, of course. He crossed his arms in a way that struck you as mildly defensive. Maybe you remember the friends of my parents, the ones I've visited recently. Well, it just so happens that they're in the performance industry. Theater, ballet, musicals, all kinds of productions. They specialize in large-scale events of that nature. Alright, I need to hydrate it. Okay, this venue isn't one of theirs, but they were able to pull some strings on my behalf.
Of course.
It's a question of knowing the right people who know the right people. We could have even had full backstage actors, with the main cast if I'd asked. As it was, we were singled out for some special attention during the show on account of being seated at the bar. Oh, so that's why. That's why the actors have been looking at us every time. I'll have to remember to thank them for that. I'm sure they'd be pleased to know our date went well too. You couldn't help it, your eyes widened a little. You hadn't figured that Baxter would have that kind of pull. Seeing your response, Baxter's features chilled further. His eyebrows knitting together, he shrugged his shoulders in a sigh.
Truthfully,
I do try not to lean onto that kind of thing too much. If you can believe me, I appreciate it might not look like it now. You could say it means for me to preserve my sense of independence. It's easy to be popular if you can foot the bill, but I don't want to be that. I don't want that to be what draws others to me. But after all that, here I am, leaning on the same old couch. Nothing has changed since I was 6. I'm still using my rich kid powers to make people like me. Oh, Baxter. How quaint, how wonderful, how truly excellent. As he rambled on, Baxter was speaking more and more inwardly, his tone increasingly acrid. Is this really any better than yesterday? What have I achieved? You could only sit and listen as the brief tirade continued. Had Baxter been sitting on this ever since the coffee shop? It was true, he hadn't come across as satisfied by reassurances, only by a second chance. But if you had known it only make him feel worse, you wouldn't have let it get this far. Baxter managed to snap out of this train of thought, his attention returning to you. He looked rather sheepish.
forgive me.
Ah, sorry, Mori. Perhaps it would be best to call it a night. Not again. I wouldn't want to sour the evening after such a charming show. He swiftly rose from his bar stool, mind made up. You didn't stop him. Attempting the conversation in a public place wasn't a wise plan. Instead, you hurried to follow. Crossing the floor towards the exit, you passed the bartender and a few other cast members. You quickly expressed your appreciation to them and got cheery waves and thanks in return. Sounds and colors became a blur, and before long, you were out on the street. Baxter already a few paces down the block, heading for his car, but he stopped for you to catch up. You exchanged a few pleasantries on the journey home, but nothing too involved. Baxter was making an effort to keep the conversation light, just as he promised. He really didn't want to leave a bad impression, and that was clear. You used the time in the space between sentences to mull things over. It was something that needed to be done, but you couldn't figure out what you could say. As you imagined scenarios, it would all end the same way, with him appreciating the sentiment, but not believing. It was hard to think clearly. Your head was full of the smell of fake cocktails and snatches of remembered music, like the show in your life blending together in a shake of a mixer. You sank down into the soft leather of the car seat and let the images wash over you in waves. The stars were winking playfully overhead as you arrived back in your own neighborhood. The moon was a yellow lantern floating up high. You stepped out of Baxter's car and a sea breeze danced across your cheeks. After the summer heat of the daytime, it was cool and refreshing, like the first sharp sip of an ice drink. Hydrate. Baxter escorted you to the front door. He was, as ever, determined to be a gentleman. The deliberateness of it gave you pause, in a way that it hadn't until now. He lifted the corners of his mouth, his eyes wrinkled, a perfectly arranged smile.
Good night.
Good night, Mori. I had a wonderful time. The manner he said it made it sound less like he was expressing his feelings, and more like he was stating a want, as if he was determined it should be true. Ever since his dip in mood at the end of the event, your mind had been filled with thoughts that you couldn't grasp hold of. Those questions pressed against you incessantly. Why was he still beating himself up over what happened yesterday? Why did he seem so unlike himself before you left the bar? What was going on in that head of his right now? Having bid you farewell, Baxter moved to leave. There was a priority in making himself scarce. In his eyes there was something like tiredness. Something like fear. The prospect of some other hidden indignity rearing its head was too much for him to bear. He'd lost the chance to save face entirely in front of you by now. Best to cut things off at the roots. To see him like that tugged at your chest. You couldn't accept him going back to that empty house to wallow in frustration. But what could you do? You opened your mouth without anything to fill it, but the words somehow came anyway. Would you want to come inside? Things couldn't end here, that much was certain. What you needed was more time. Baxter paused. Having turned to go, the far side of him was in shadow. As he slowly swiveled back to you, and the light caught his face once more, his expression was conflicted. It held surprise, confusion, and no small amount of intrigue. His lips parted as if to speak, but his brow furrowed, and he closed his mouth again without a sound. He evidently had no idea where the present moment was leading. Neither did you. Baxter settled on a simple tilt of the head, his eyes posing questions. Hey, the night's still young, and I hear there's this really great local place to grab a drink. It's really close by. You fished out your house keys and jingled them pointedly. Oh no! Jingle, 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 jingle. Hey, are you? Do I have your attention? Hey, hey, hey. Right, I'm right here. Focus on me. Hey, hey, hey. Would you care to join me? The drink joint is my house. Despite playing it off as nothing serious, you were silently willing Baxter not to go, just a little longer. Hearing your elaboration, Baxter couldn't help but be amused. He recovered from his initial trepidation enough to laugh at your desperate plan. A drink, you say? A fascinating suggestion. How decidedly original of you. And one eyebrow was raised, his voice dripping with irony. You schooled your expression, a picture of innocence. Whatever could he be implying? There was nothing the least bit absurd about this request. Baxter's features relaxed into a look of fond regard, his eyes searching your face for a moment. One hand was stuck casually into his back pocket. Though some of the tension appeared to be gone, his stance was still one of indecision, contemplation. For some reason, your imagination conjured up a vision of him at a woodland crossroads, standing just as he was now, carefully weighing which way to go. At this point, you felt as though you could guess the thought process he was going through, even though he wasn't saying it out loud. For Baxter, it was all a question of the eventual outcome. When everything was over and he looked back on this moment, would he best like... How would he best like to remember it? Should he end things here and avoid any further mishaps, or should the night continue with the accompanying risk of additional regrets? Baxter didn't only aim to make the most of his time by doing what he liked, but by meticulously crafting the experiences and emotions he'd had. I drink. You sighed inwardly, recalling the simpler times. If only there were another case of which frozen dessert to pick from an ice cream truck. At length, his mind was made up. Baxter cleared his throat and straightened his stance, facing you square on.
That's sweet.
Thank you for the offer, Mori. It's very kind of you to be so generous with your time. I should like to take up on that suggestion. If it's no convenience, a drink would be lovely. A rush of relief hit. Thank goodness, you still had a chance to throw things around. You likely had a similar thought, though your ideas on what would achieve that were certainly different. Alright. Flashing a cheerful smile, you unlocked your front door and led the way inside. Baxter dutifully followed, pausing only to wipe his shoes on the doormat, just as Ma would want. Okay, I'm going to stop here, because it's almost 5:30. I'm going to save here. Alright. This still isn't the end of the moment. We still have like a good chunk of story left for this. This is why I said this is going to be like the longest part of the DLC. Don't worry, it's gonna have a satisfying conclusion. We'll get back to this next week. Yeah, next week. We'll get back to this next week. Yeah. Alright. That's it. I save again, double save. Alright. Go back to the menu. Search the menu. Finish it more. I can't even speak properly now. I'm having trouble. I'm starting to sound really nasally, okay? I'm starting to sound like Anna Alouette. I can't keep going like this, okay? I need to rest my voice. Okay. Alright. Thanks everyone for dropping by. We went on a 3-hour endeavor and it isn't even finished yet. Hopefully the next one is going to be like quicker. I think. Question mark. We're going to be visiting a mountain lodge in the next time we play this. We'll be going on a little hike with Baxter. Going to a mountain lodge and then going to a little walk in nature with Baxter. Yes. Something that he likes to do, I think. Thank you for streamer. Thank you for dropping by, Neil. Thank you everyone. I will see you guys on Friday for Night in the Woods. We're continuing on the investigation for the Possum Springs ghosts. Yes. Alright. See you guys. Bye bye.